system. Alright, let's do this.
Once there was a hunter who saw what others could not. With a magic case in her backpack, she roamed with wild abandon into the great unknown. Her gaze inescapable, her reflexes lightning fast. When armies swarmed, she went through. With eyes open wide, hands steady, holding, watching, capturing everything in sight.
The Crucial Pro DDR5 RAM kit comes with a sleek, modern look that will complement any build. But aesthetics aside, it's the performance that really matters. So let's dive into it. The default JEDEC timings are 46, 45, 45, but it does come with 2 XMP and Expo settings for those looking for a little more performance. With XMP 3.0 Profile 1, you can push the speed up to 5600 megatransfers per second. If you prefer a slightly lower speed but tighter timings, Profile 2 offers 5200 megatransfers per second at 42, 42, 42 timings. We've run some benchmarks and stress tests to give you an idea of how it performs. In general, dropping the speed and tightening the timings with the second XMP/Expo profile yielded better results for us on our test system. Paired with a Ryzen 7800X 3D, we saw anywhere from a 1 to 5% performance bump depending on workloads. All in all, the Crucial Pro DDR5 64GB RAM kit by Micron is a fantastic choice for first-time builders and enthusiasts alike.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with the eSports Show on Series 6 Valorant powered by Crucial by Micron with the regarded Zotac Gaming, media partners, Gossip.gg, jumping into the action for the second best of 3 for this lower bracket run. It's going to be your boy Aggressive bringing you all of the action with Ana on my side this time around. Raider had to step out, but honestly speaking, this second game really is going to be one for the books as well, because do not forget the lower bracket run that we had previously 2 days back was a very big surprise, because none of us expected AIRAVATA to make it to frags. But the fact that Zero Frags, who finished 3rd, mind you, in the previous season, dropped out right at the very beginning of the playoffs, that is something that none of us.
Absolutely, and the way the results came in was definitely surprising. And even today, I feel like AIRAVATA is definitely one of the teams who's going to be giving us surprising results, but I'm not sure if it's going to be as smooth as it was against Zero Frags, because 120 FPS recently fought one of the toughest contenders of this particular season, that is TEC Esports. So I think 120 FPS is prepared for what's to come next, and so is AIRAVATA. So I think this is definitely going to be one of those matches which is very close, but still going to be a 2-0, I think. I don't know.
Gonna be a lot of different things that really will come into the picture here, or whether or not this will be a 2-0, because in a way 120 FPS as a team just isn't as consistent as you would want them to.
Exactly.
There's a lot of different situations where, yeah, they're gonna play really well, they're gonna do good, but at the same time they just fall short in other instances as well. So I'm a little bit on the, I would say, weird side for this particular team, but consistency may not be their strongest suit, but the place where they really thrive in is where they're really going to be able to stand as a unit. Because if they get their proper foothold in a particular match right at the very beginning, they're going to be able to carry that consistency throughout the game. But the thing is, up against Aravata, consistency is not gonna allow you to reach that finish line, especially when you have that young talent on your roster. I do believe that Zephy possibly is not gonna be playing here today either. It's gonna be Robo. It's gonna be Robo who's instead gonna be joining in to play. This might be an issue for Aravata. This might be an issue for Aravata here because Zephy was one of their biggest hitting fraggers, and without him, I don't know how the team's gonna be able to function.
Exactly what even I am worried about right now, because to be very honest, I was gonna mention the point that 120 FPS does have very fantastic players lined up, but then again, as a team, I don't see them functioning the way I see Eravat functioning as a team. Because I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be so, but the last match we saw, we were able to point out how Sayonara and Zephy were constantly there to back each other up. Even as a controller and duelist combination, they were constantly being able to provide each other the support that's needed. And on the other hand, the remaining three were able to give each other the kind of atmosphere to go ahead and play the game setting moves for themselves. But then again, now that Zephy is not in the picture, I definitely need to see how Robo fits into the whole thing and then find out how the overall result is going to pan out. But yeah, I definitely feel unless and until 120 FPS goes ahead and functions as a well oiled machine going together, I don't see a lot that they can bring to the table for this one. But yeah, Haven is definitely one of those maps where on the defensive side, you will be tested. You'll be tested pretty well. And that's exactly where 120 FPS is right now.
It's just very strange to see how and what the team is going to be doing with these particular three maps. Vine is where I'm really interested for them to bring into a couple of changes in their overall playstyle, but at the same time, Haven, again, the Phoenix changes have already been introduced, so there's a chance that Phoenix will be taken into the picture. And don't forget, because of those Phoenix changes, normally what did we do before? We needed someone to smoke off the window, allowing us to take over the entirety of Garage. Now, Phoenix, because there is no real need for the Omen to smoke on towards window, the Omen now has options to do other things with the smoke. He can easily use it to lurk up or see long, even if he wants to. There's so many different variables now that you can bring onto the table just because you have a Phoenix on your team. That wall even makes the entries towards the A side a lot more easier. Before, Phoenix needed to completely expose himself to place a flame wall, trying to come in from short. Now he no longer needs to. This will be interesting whether or not Aravat or even 120 FPS will try to incorporate any form of the new meta characters into the picture, or will they go in for the much more tried and true tested setups?
I am hoping to see changes in both the teams because, again, as you said, there have been game changing patches coming in this time around, and it's definitely supposed to show up, and it does. It does. We have a double duelist composition from the side of Eravat, and it is Yoru and Phoenix. Yoru and
Not that big of a
Phoenix, of course.
surprise.
This
This has been something that these teams are picking up out of nowhere, Ahana, when you think about it. Remember, we casted in the last season 120 FPS. They ran this combination with that ISO.
ISO and
Now
Yoru.
that now that the Phoenix is as potent, even stronger than an ISO in my opinion, because of the amount of fluidity that you can have and the amount of utility that you're able to bring onto the table compared to an ISO. I think it's a good change up and maybe an even better one when you think about it. Double flashes to enter into a site, it'll be insane.
Exactly, and that too when they can be replenished that quickly by getting just a couple of kills, which, by the way, if you know both of these teams on individual levels, the players are very good at their gunfights and will be an easy thing for them to do. However, it's gonna be fun to see both the teams running a Yoru. There is an ISO from the side of 120 FPS and Phoenix from the side of AIRAVATA. I am very excited to see how this unfolds because, again, we have seen how the Yoru ISO duo is working. It did give us surprising results the last time around, but this time they have ended up in the lower brackets because of it. They had the Haven match against WG and they could not make it work. Now it's gonna be opposed by a Yoru Phoenix double duelist comp. So we'll definitely find out. I mean, I for one am not someone who loves a double duelist comp on Haven anymore because mainly you have three sites and you do have to defend eventually. You might want more area controlling agents altogether. But yeah, in today's scene, it is what it is. We'll see faster hits.
Just with 13 bullets. And we're gonna get old pretty much. Just making sure that it's not gonna be fake, but giving me some information too that Long still is being highly contested for even later on into the round. Detroit, he did have a phenomenal performance yesterday when he was on that Sova. Sorry, day before yesterday. Today though, being on that Phoenix, would he be able to give the same level of backup to Clandestine? Because don't forget that Clandestine, he was the one that was playing that Phoenix on that map of Pearl with Zephy being right behind him. That same
Yep.
dynamic really needs to come into play here. AIRAVATA gets information on the A side, immediately opts to go in for that rotation, and maybe, just maybe, it's gonna work out with only the Cypher holding on to the C side. Greeny, he needs to hold or maybe even find a kill. He's gonna opt for the fight, which is the much more optimum plan because I don't really believe it's a good idea. But with the Cypher changes, no one's gonna die. Even if he has the angle, Cypher can still play for it.
Spike planted.
I want to see how this turns around. There's definitely a good position for Greeny, but being stuck in a corner, he still finds himself the frag. Puts the team on equalized numbers nonetheless.
One enemy remaining.
With the refrags coming in from the players of AIRAVATA. Now it's a 2v1, post plant. No room for Greeny, very little HP on Robo, definitely an added benefit.
One enemy
But
remaining.
Greeny is not on full either.
Nice
Manages the
shots.
frags, so yep.
He's just calm and collected for that one. We're sitting all the way back on towards window and the right click still hit him. You'd expect that even after all these nerfs, the right clicks are not going to be that big of a problem. Don't forget that the run and gun for every single weapon has also changed. And Greedy maximum showboat from this man. It's just like, I'm going to be the Pipe Piper. Everyone's going to follow me
Yeah.
instead. We're gonna get this cam on this guy even more often. If the members of 120 FPS are taking proper wins here, Greeny, I do believe he's gonna be the personality that just propels them forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any which ways, entering into the second round with the added benefit of better weaponry towards the side of 120 FPS. Look at Homeboy already capitalizing on it. That Marshall is going to be taking the Cypher off from the side of Team AIRAVATA. No more trips, no more cages, nobody to watch for backstabs.
They're gonna need to find an opening.
Position on
Detroit
Greeny.
doesn't really clear out the angle. Yeah, he's just doing so well. Greeny's just like a dagger in the night now.
Yeah.
He's got that first initial boost of confidence that he really needed to propel his team forward. Remember, I'll keep on saying this, that 120 FPS as a team, they just need that one instance where you give them an inch. They're gonna be able to take a mile off of it.
Yep.
Question is, how long can they hold on to that lead? These first two rounds, yeah, it's gonna exist, but what will he do when the buys roll around?
That's what even I'm wondering, and that's what exactly all of us keep looking for once the match starts. The third round, that's where we start seeing the real colors flourish. Any which ways, this is definitely gonna be a plan. AIRAVATA can thank themselves for that added 300 crits, but it's not a very difficult situation yet,
Enemy
though.
remaining.
Okay, now it is. A 1v3 now. Before I could even finish saying that they're on equalized numbers on a post plant, it just went down to 1v3.
We're actually able to see all of the players in the proper limelight as well. I still remember that 120 FPS couldn't really give all of their cams during the last instance where we were watching them, but seeing the expression of the players and how they're handling themselves in these kind of flood situations, it's also fun to see. But for the members of AIRAVATA in this instance, I do believe that this was a very successful round for them. Being able to take
Yeah.
out two weapons on Haven, being able to get the plant down as well, deal a little bit of damage to armor. Overall, the economy is in the right place, but don't forget, because of the region shields now being introduced, you can get that almost upgraded armor moving forward into the following rounds as well.
Well, we're definitely going to be waiting a little bit before we walk back into the game. But taking a look at the regen shields that are being used, what's your opinion on it? I want to know how useful you find that to be.
I do believe that it's going to revolutionize the way that we lay out force buy rounds. I don't think it's going to affect ecos as much or even the buy rounds because, of course, full shields will still be the best thing that you can hope for because the phantom buffs pretty much made the Vandal a null and void rifle at this stage. A lot of people are
Yeah,
going to disagree with me on that end because, come on, it's a Vandal one
I know.
tap, it's always going to be better, but a lot of people are going to say that. But the Phantom
Yeah.
is now arguably the much more better weapon to have. You have a
Mhm.
weapon that will always deal 140 damage. The chip damage meta still exists in the game of Valorant. A lot of people say that it's gone, but no. If you get tagged by pretty much anything, that one Phantom will still kill you at every from now.
I agree.
And
I
that
believe
regen
Phantom
shield,
is.
it adds something,
Mhm.
but it's not gonna be much because 5 rounds to eco rounds, the difference is not going to be that much. But on those like small half buy rounds, I do believe that's where the Regent Shield will really shine. Right?
Mhm. I believe that for from where I stand, I see shields being useful enough for any agent that's not a duelist. Because if you are playing a duelist, I don't think you get enough opportunity to get that regen in because you generally are expected to and have to be put in positions where you commit to a fight and don't really get to walk back out of it before you're completely taken down or you have taken someone completely down. So I think the liberty of not being able to walk out of fights is not available to them. But well, round will begin and it will lead to early trade-offs. However,
Spike
the
planted.
utility that has been lost for the side of 120 FPS is going to be greater than that of AIRAVATA.
Risky as per usual, Shrey is being an absolute nuisance. Flash was good, but the wall was even better. NZ being able to utilize the
One
timing
enemy
gorgeously.
remaining.
The wall giving him
Robo.
the edge, but Robo making his life a lot more easier. Lines them up and sends them back out. Zaps needs to be the one to make a clutch happen. But Robo with his timing was just so much better. 4 kills to his name. And a Rolling Thunder now online for the members of AIRAVATA to go in for an easy hit over onto any side that they want. A looks to be a lot more on the riper side for them to pick on, but at the same time, because of what they do have with the run it back, there's a lot more
Mhm.
options that they can go for. Maybe a possible fake even, or early control towards Garage, utilizing the run it back and then going for a full hit towards B by jumping into the window. There's a lot of different things that they can do.
True that. I mean, I'm already seeing Robo fit into the team as a person who has good enough frag potential, but I still want to see how he fits in with the team as an overall unit before I can make any claims on whether or not I'm missing Zephy already. But yeah, definitely a remarkable round from him. Yet again, in this particular round, we are going to see the team completely take control of the side. The plant is going to go down very
Spike
quickly into
planted.
the round. And that
Timing!
angle and that timing, Homeboy could have literally gotten a frag for himself, but he just missed it. That timing.
They want to make a run in happen, but it all depends on the
Oh,
first player. The Crow made
oh,
a little too aggressive. The players are going in for no apparent reason. Catch out over towards the first. Greenie's in a good position, but he's all isolated and by himself. One by one, they're trying to run on in through CT, but it's not going to be helpful.
One
Defender side
enemy
at spawn is a very horrible position for you to be in, but if you're able to flood in with a good set of util, you do not have anything to worry about. 120 FPS, ladies and gentlemen. They take a 3-1 scorecard for themselves, even through the Breach Ultimate and the run it back. They're able to find value. A well-played round coming in from the defenders.
absolutely. I mean, whatever they're doing, it's definitely working out, but I still want to see the overall having each other's back thing from the side of 120 FPS, because yes, this was a complete flood in. This was literally a position that they created in which there was nowhere to go for the players from AIRAVATA. But I don't think being able to replicate this every single round is going to be possible, because you might not always have the man count advantage to walk in with. So I definitely want to see how 120 FPS is going to be coordinating with each other when they're not all just stacked together. Okay, actually, you know what? I'll take my words back. The way Homeboy is playing, I think you're always going to have the man count advantage. Never mind. That's the curse.
Yep. Instantaneous trades coming in from either side of this. They're not going to be able to break the tripwire though, which is a little bit of a problem. The tripwire change is an issue, I would say, but at the same time, if you place the tripwires properly on the opposite end of a smoke, then even if you do get caught by a tripwire, you're not going to be able to break it instantly because of it being on the opposite end of a smoke.
True that.
Small changes can really add up, though. It adds a bit more counterplay to what Cypher brings onto the table. So for now, you see that AIRAVATA are looking to make a possible entry in towards the B side. One person had makes noise, and Prime is ready for the hit. It's a waiting game now coming in from either side. A calm before the storm.
30 seconds
As
left.
30 seconds are left on the clock, the execute needs to happen soon.
That it does. Yet again, waiting for the chance, waiting for the time. Prime will be able to go ahead and take Shrey off, get one more for himself, putting the numbers again on advantage, putting the defenders again on a win streak. AIRAVATA is not even able to find themselves the right economy, the right weapons, the right playstyle. I mean, I don't know if this is the fact that they have to play with Robo right now and maybe they have more practice with Zephy, or if it's the fact that they're going in with a completely different composition. They may not have as much time to go ahead and, practice the Phoenix comp. As I don't know which one. Right there. Definitely not this era with BO3.
It's just not going to be as simple as one would expect. But then again, difficulty is where it's all at. Overall, at the end of the day, small mistakes, instances is what's really going to give them that edge to play around with. AIRAVATA, they're a little bit lost in their overall approach too, and I do believe that this is where the brilliance of having that young talent really does change everything, because you never really know what that young gun can do or how fast he's going to be able to go in for an execute. Having a Yoru and Phoenix, I do believe is kind of slowly catching up on them, especially for this attack side. Gonna have issues from time to time, but the ultimate coming in from the ISO, isolating one of the players. Greeny's gonna be able to find the catch over on towards one. And wait a minute, did he accidentally grab the Omen midway and Greeny was able to find the kill?
C.
That's what we saw. That's what we saw. Well, with the 3 again from the side of Greeny, we're going to be walking into the 7th round. The first half of the first half is done. And the scoreline is not looking good. Not for AIRAVATA.
Here.
They do have a couple of very good ultimates available for themselves. Will be able to give them tons of information, but being able to capitalize on it is going to be the challenge.
Valorant is a game of information, but unless you know how to utilize that information, it's really going to take a toll on you mentally. And this team able to work his way up here already. A little bit of an early spam here coming in from Prime. He's not going to be risking it, but the spam is going to work. When Destine running into the waning arms of Prime pretty much at that stage. Hunter's Fury coming in from Zap. Perfect line as well. He's going to be able to clear out all the angles that he needs to. Decroy swings into Homeboy too. And one by one, they're just going to keep on dropping like flies. Last one remaining will be Shrey. Good for the one, but that's all she wrote for him. 6-1, ladies and gentlemen. It's 120 FPS. I don't know how you're going to try to stop it.
I don't think there is a way for AIRAVATA to come back into the game anymore. 120 FPS is literally annihilating them one after the other every single round, and it seems like They are ready to push AIRAVATA out of the game completely. Let's see how this turns around. This time around, it seems like it might be a fast A hit. But there's a standstill. They're taking it slow. They're taking their time.
Take flight.
The stack on A from the side of 120 FPS looks good enough to be able to go ahead and control this. They have information collectors. They have
Right here.
smokes that's going to be able to push them
Over. You're dead.
into dark for a while. Oh no. The wrong Yoru it was. And the wrong Phoenix as well.
They're just running it down.
Mhm.
They have all the space that they would have wanted, but they're able to answer back in kind. Prime just coming in through the back. He's going to be able to find one more for himself. And even though the flank was initiated, just wasn't enough. Timing is key for it, though. The crew's going to be able to find one of the catches. But really? No!
Wow. That
Really
wasn't
good
supposed
cosplay of Manoj there. But for now,
I-
Prime. He's going to be the one to work his way forward. Possibly work his magic here. For the members of 120 FPS. Sayonara. He just had the better timing and a better clear. He had the read that he wanted. And finally, AIRAVATA, they have that second win that they are required to get to try and get themselves back.
But a costly one, wasn't it? They ended up using way too much. They put up 2 ultimates into it, and they lost, I think, 3 weapons in total. Yeah, that's not the easiest of wins, not the most replicable ones. But let's see if AIRAVATA is gonna be able to go on with a continuous momentum from here, because they need every single round they can get from here on to have a dominant first half. The dimensional drift, there's definitely a lot of intel here. And a good weapon at a good position. If Yoru is able to live long enough, I like the results that Judge can bring on that position.
Yeah, this time around, the momentum is yet to stop coming out from them. Enzi always being the one to go in for kills like this. Regular basis for him as Greeny on the perfect angle swings across. They still have to worry about so much. They are all just being corralled into one position. They're all just sitting onto logs. What do you do there? You can't do anything. Let's say your opponents are jumping in through garage and through defender spawn. What are you gonna do then?
Be sandwiched.
Perfect idiot sandwich.
I don't believe that this is how they chose to play their post plant. They were
don't
just
believe so
about to
either.
start getting a few rounds. I expected more.
I do believe that they're a bit lost in what to do with this overall composition. They need to play for control, which is another big thing. If you're gonna play like this, why not have a lot more of a forward-sided approach to the side of garage? Like, they can play a little bit more aggressive on that angle. And maybe things will change for the better from there.
They do need to put themselves in positions of more area being under control, more numbers advantage being built for themselves, at least before the plant, because an equalized number post plant is
Spike
definitely not
planted.
working out for them. Well, this time around, Deckroyd has taken that responsibility on himself,
Joke's over. You're
and
dead.
Homeboy is somehow missing his operator shots. Might build an opportunity. I don't see a lot of presence on. Okay, there is a little bit of presence under Haven.
One
A
enemy
good
remaining.
position, but still not as well resultant as they would want it to be.
Not
Yeah.
one left.
Another round for AIRAVATA, but not one that could give them, I mean, enough momentum to get forward. Do you think 7-5 is a good enough swap on this? I'm don't think it's gonna be achievable though.
There's a good chance that they can do it because they have a Rolling Thunder online, but even then, like, I agree with you. It's gonna be difficult for AIRAVATA to go in for a read again because don't forget 120 FPS. Now they're given a chance to again change how their overall playstyle is gonna work. It's a good chance with a complete change up in the strategy. They're gonna for a bit of
They're
a
definitely-
change up on their hit.
Yeah, they're
Get
definitely being
used of
proactive
weapons.
towards side A.
Oh no! Run away! Oh, Saps, he lives.
Scanning
I
ahead.
thought this was gonna be a Bozo moment.
Could have been.
I don't know if you know the guy.
Spike dropped. Cutting through.
I know that. I know about that moment. Definitely don't know
No,
the
Joe
guy.
the Bozo. No, it's Joe the Bozo, like the Breach player that is known to make faces after he kills Sovas with an aftershock.
You're done.
It seems as the homeboy is going to be able to answer back in kind, being on that Euro and also being able to find full value with the operator. Could just be an issue. Sayonara not even looking towards the back of that one. Probably going to spot out one, but one's going to
30
take the
seconds
bait here.
left.
This homeboy.
Spike planted.
He's just waiting for the opportunity to be given to him. Flash in hand, swing across, Decoy just holding back the line for as long as he possibly can. Ultimate now being utilized, and this is the thing that I wanted, but not the death of Clandestine! What is happening? They're dying here!
Last player
The
standing.
amount of area that was captured by the players of 120 FPS in the meantime is humongous. Detroit, however, still trying to keep the flags running.
Eh?
It's a 1v1, but the defuse will be done before he can go ahead and find the tag for himself. Let's get the operator knocked off, but not
Last
gonna get the
round
round for
in the
himself.
half.
Now it's definitely not a comfortable swap. Definitely not. Unless you consider that AIRAVATA will somehow be in a miraculous position to get the first 2 rounds on the next half.
I need to wait and see how this one's gonna go now. 83 on the scorecards here. Zaps early. Utilizing the shock darts to try and fake out the trip that he placed early on, but even then, it's a waiting game for them. Denzi
I'll handle this.
trying to find that early hit for themselves, but Sayonara's on the angle, but he swings out into this. It is going to be dangerous. They're not going in for the much more optimum side. It clears. And one by one, they're able to find it all. AIRAVATA
Last player standing.
clearing everything for themselves here. And as long as they live, it's
Spike planted.
just going to get faster. A very fast overall execute that just gives him the slight edge over 120 FPS. And that moment of timing that they could have gotten is what was required for them to turn things around. But homeboy, even if he gets one kill, if he gets one kill, mind you, this is not looking good. Swing across! He needed to hit the shot, but Croyd gets the better timing. And AVT, they take us to an 8-4. Very admirable half.
I am liking the way they caught up the pace towards the late rounds of the first half, but I do want to see them continue with it. Now that the attack side has started for the side of 120 FPS, I want to see how they function as a team, because in the first half, they were able to get away with it thanks to the way responses were coming in from the side of AIRAVATA itself. I would definitely point that the lags that happened from the side of AIRAVATA did give a very good edge for the side of 120 FPS to just go ahead flooding into all the sides. And that flooding in with full gunpowder of such brilliant players did manage to get them way too many rounds. But in attack, I think the coordination will have to be a little more, and not being able to fulfill that will result into 120 FPS being on the lower end of rounds in this one.
Cover going out.
A bit of early spam here for Sayonara. Needs to be worried about this. NZ still alive and kicking for that one. Flashes are perfect. NZ, he's still alive. Wait a minute, NZ. How are you doing this? Alive and kicking for it all. NZ, he's looking for more kills. He's gonna be able to find it. The ISO, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't even have the second charge, but he doesn't even need it because he has the clone to give him the save. What just happened? NZ, you were at only 30 HP. You still ran into the side and took down 3?
That he did. With only one player lost, 120 FPS gets themselves the pistol of the second half as well. And now they're gonna be going on their anti-eco. Side C seems to be the best option for this. Do you think?
Here.
Cannot make this up. 94, ladies and gentlemen, 120 FPS. They're pulling off miracles here.
That they are. It was looking.
Okay.
Yeah, just does not care about walking in fire. He's ready for the challenge. Why though? I don't.
That's his own
understand,
team,
because
Smalley.
True that. True that. And also, his team is the one lacking behind, so I don't understand why you would, but he decided to. Okay, Shrey finally showing some caliber into the game. Graffiti angle is going to be important to hold on to. NZ does not do that and gets punished for it. But there's still going to be numbers advantage for the side of 120 FPS. However, a good enough round for the side of AIRAVATA, considering they've already dropped a couple of weapons. And will be able to drop one more, I think. Just one more.
It's still a considerable factor here, but the Stinger, after all of these nerfs, is just so much harder to get value out of that weapon. Good round overall, I would say. Those strange duels that they were taking. Shrey, he did try to open stuff up, but honestly, the plan was good from the members of AIRAVATA. They just couldn't really win the duels that they expected to get. They had the flash ready. They didn't take the fight. They were isolated, but and again, AIRAVATA, unless you start taking a little bit more of an initiative now that the rounds are swaying away back into your favor, a slight bit, the weapons that you do have. Unless a change is seen soon, it's going to be difficult to try and break through out of this.
I am liking the retaliation from the side of 120 FPS in this round yet again. Being the ones with full weaponry in action, in play. They are able to capitalize, but then again, Dick Royd is definitely showing up for the team now and again. I'm waiting to see the same amount of efforts from the rest of them. Nara with a 3K of his own will be able to deny this one. I still see very
people
little
in the
hope.
head. Go on ahead, continue. You were saying.
I was just saying, I still see very little hope for them. I feel like we might be able to see a better AIRAVATA in the next match. Next map, I would say. But for this one, I feel like we've already lost a lot from them. And mind you, it's their pick. It's their pick.
Yeah. But even then, in the last round, you could see that they did pull off a little bit of a good showing, I would say, overall. They were able to catch them off guard in a lot of instances, and their trades were significantly better than what it used to be. But even then, they still have to worry about the ultimates that could be coming in from NZ. Timing is key. Wait a minute, he caught a clone! Oh, that is perfect. He completely botched it out in clandestine. He just survives and he kicks onto the side. This is perfect. They ran into a sack, and they ran into a judge in the process as well. Good utilization of the clone to completely nullify the ultimate coming in from the ISO. Never mind, the kill contract didn't get value, but NZ with his aim, he's going to be able to find it 24/7. Two players have been taken down, and 120 FPS, they made this round a lot more winnable than what it was. They still need one more to equalize things out, and because of the map control being gained out by the members of AIRAVATA, they need to go into a fight soon. They're running into this stack.
I am worried about the positioning on the Omen.
30 seconds
That's
left.
definitely gonna be one thing in the way of 120 FPS for sure. Clarenstein also holding a very good angle, will be able to spot any players before they even have the chance to scan his corner. And with the support coming from the side of Robo, actually never mind, Robo has been taken down already.
Last player
Now it's a
No
1v1
way.
between the Omens.
I swear. Prime, do you have the read? Do you want to go up and jump onto heaven? If he has the proper timing for it, he didn't even plan for it, which is one of the bigger problems, I would say. So Prime needs to be playing from the underside. Paranoia already utilized, going to be giving away all of the information. Prime, he still has his own. This could just go from bad to worse. It all depends on the timing. If he's able to
he's
find the
taking,
read,
he's
this will
taking.
be perfect. But no, he's not going to be risking it. Sayonara, this is one of those players that he never, ever gets off the spike. Once he starts to stick it, he will hold onto his guns. Take a risk or go back home. That's the position where the members of AIRAVATA are in for this particular map.
That was just a very disheartening waste of the ultimate having caught the clone. Just put him in a very, what would I say, fruitless situation?
Cover going out.
But well, yet again, a new round, a new story. We start off with Decoy already making sure that he's having enough dominance on these players. 120 FPS this time around. I don't think that they even have a shot. They did not have the right weaponry, but they're not going to be able to take away any weapons on the opposite side either. Look at that. The sheer aggression on the side of AIRAVATA. And even though this was one of the rounds where you absolutely did not think 120 FPS would be able to pull off a thrifty, it was also one which has put AIRAVATA way too close on the score lines to be able to go ahead and find themselves the equalizer they need. We might just be up for a completely different result than what it looked like until a couple of rounds ago.
Right here.
All a question of what's and ifs at this stage. For them,
Revealing.
Troy needs to get close to this fight here. Already, you can see. Jumps across. He's going to be able to get away. Robo immediately finding that opening frag up on towards the one. Hunter's Fury now being utilized. Close on the corner. Detroit's not going to be able to live through that one. A one-for-one trade. And honestly, a very good trade indeed, because the running back was still in the hands of one, but Clandestine even things out, shutting down the controller for the attackers. Now, this is a time where they just all run back, take defensive positions, because now without those smokes, they can no longer play as aggressively. Cutting down on that aggressive play style with more information being gained by Clandestine's ultimate. They're going to be able to do whatever the hell they want. He doesn't have a teleport. Never mind. He can't really get out of this.
I'm back.
It's going to give away his position, gain some more information, and just run back in towards the site. Cypher's going to keep him safe.
That he'll be able to, but yet again, it is going to be a push in towards site A.
Revealing
I
area.
believe 120 FPS does have an entry point that they can capitalize on, but will Cypher be able to stall them long enough to get the rest of the team to assemble around him?
What a shot.
3 gone.
One enemy
Zaps
remaining.
just being zapped.
What?
Gets his 3K.
Spike planted.
Puts the team yet again on a winning condition. Ladenstein in a 1v2.
Last player standing.
The position is
Oh,
known, the
fine.
position is given away, but Will Zaps, okay, just catches him in a very difficult position.
Normally, you
Timing
never
on that
use a
one.
clone like that. You want to free place the clone, get into a different position, and then opt to utilize the clone. Because you were standing out in the open, the player already knows that you placed a clone like that.
Yep.
You're not really baiting out information at that stage. You're just giving away your own position. Stuff that you can do with Euro is just so difficult and so fascinating to watch as well. Clandestine just fell into that trap. He plays Euro well, but not knowing the ins and outs of the character, it's causing him to make slight mistakes.
It's you
And in this last round, that one misplay costed him.
I'm back.
Yet again a round where AIRAVATA is gonna be able to get themselves early advantages and definitely to the point where they can actually convert it. Gonna be able to deny the flawless, gonna be able to take away a couple of weapons, but that's about it from the side of 120 FPS in this particular one. But they're too close to victory. They just need a couple more rounds, just a couple more mistakes from the side of AIRAVATA, and they could be finding themselves on a winning streak. However, okay, yeah, a very well required timeout. But yeah, this is definitely one of the rounds which AIRAVATA can already find in their own pockets if they execute it even with a little bit of cautiousness. Because as you can see, 120 FPS does not have the right weapons for this one.
It's all going to depend on how they're going to be playing this out as well. For 120 FPS, I do believe they need a much more decisive approach in whichever side they want to go to. If they are going to be committing towards the A side, I would recommend just going for a rush. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but I do believe rushing against the players of AIRAVATA might just be their best bet. Or if they do want to play slow, rush into maybe garage or even towards C, and then cut noise and then try to walk back. Because the way that AIRAVATA are playing, they're now going to be playing a lot more reactively because they have that breach shell, they have that run it back. They are not really going to be the ones to try and initiate a fight. So you have two options. Either go for the full-scale rush because, of course, you're not going to have enough economy to go in for anything else slower. Or if you want to, maybe take things slow and play for the man advantage as much as you possibly can. Stick together like a huge ball and try to pick off the players one by one if you can.
Let's see. This is definitely one of the very crucial rounds for the side of AIRAVATA, and well, Kladenstein will be able to go ahead and give them the early advantage into this one.
No charges left.
A nice follow-up from the side of Detroit as well.
Scouts down.
Okay,
Ouch.
never mind. A very nice follow-up from Detroit. And even nicer, fantastic, marvelous follow-up from Detroit, let me call it. He gets
And even
four,
excellent
with
one.
his volley even after being taken out himself.
That's just Detroit for you. He's really heating up his performances from what we have seen in day number 1. He is here to really showcase to us that doesn't matter if he's on an initiator or even on a duelist, he can always bring his A game and perform at its highest caliber. And AIRAVATA didn't even invest anything into that round. They were just able to utilize the utility that they would have for free, mind you, because don't forget, Phoenix,
Scanning ahead.
all of his flashes are technically free. You only have to pay for one.
True
For
that.
now, lineup. Really well placed, actually. Good God. That's a lineup that you would need to learn for your ranked games.
Cage triggered.
You can easily sell a fake on that A side, but none of the members of AIRAVATA really fell for it. They're still making a rotation in towards the C side and waiting for the initial hit here.
There might be a change of plans coming in from the side of 120 FPS, though they do realize that
Here.
they were not as successful in selling their fake and are moving in towards side B or A. Hard to say right now. I think it's hard to decide on for them as well. But look at the amount of area that's being covered from the side of Kladenstein. He has come way too far deep into enemy territory, gets himself the frag, and instantly runs away. That's exactly the utilization of Yoru that you keep seeing coming from him every time and again.
Right there.
Robo again
Everyone's ready.
ready. Mm-hmm.
This is a perfect read coming out from them too. Are making a slight bit of a rotation, but as long as that running back is available, the Phoenix alone can just completely clear out the site.
This around with that flash, yet again an opportunity to go ahead get the frag, but Detroit, what happened to him for a second there?
Flash out.
Rushes
Yet
across
another-
Detroit. Yikes.
Detroit just did not want to be himself for a minute there. Went ahead and kept whiffing shots. But then again, he did have enough support from the team. Now it's literally a 1 round difference between AIRAVATA and 120 FPS. After having come all that far, being literally on a 10-5, mind you, and then reaching a point of 11-10. How heartbreaking would it be for 120 FPS from here to end up being the team that loses this particular map? Yet another timeout from their side. The amount of result it's going to be able to gain for them, I'm not sure of.
We're all gonna need to wait and see. Another tactical timeout now being called again by the members of 120 FPS because they got to this spot a really long time ago. It was what, an 11-7 scoreline where AIRAVATA were trying to claw their way back, and now we're staring down the barrel of a possible loss here, where AIRAVATA could just be the ones to come into the lead for the first time.
Careful there.
Let's see if this is gonna turn out to be one of those results. Who did you think was gonna be the team taking it home for this one before we began the match? No lies.
I do believe that
Let's go.
AIRAVATA are on a roll here to try and take this one away just because of the amount of momentum that they've been able to build up. Wait! The recon bolt! It got stuck to that! What? I didn't know that it can get stuck onto a clone like that.
Yeah.
That's an interaction that none of us were ready for. But hey, you can now do that. You can send the clone out, use the recon bolt onto the clone as it's walking into garage, and they have to break it. That's something to try out in a rank game, not gonna lie with my duo.
The clone usage we're seeing from these guys is just remarkable. Anyways, yet another opportunity for Clandestine, but this time around he loses to the sheriff. There was way too much happening in that area. Robo yet again in an opportunistic position, does have quite a few people trying to peek towards him. Won't be able to participate in those fights as easily though. NZ, way too far deep into enemy territory this time around. But the numbers on the side of 120 FPS are looking good. They might just be able to find themselves on the match point here unless something already happens, which Robo is adamant to do.
Spike down.
But look at that, one frag from him results into 2 losses for his team. The retaliation is epic.
Yeah, Sayonara is on the angle too. But that is just not gonna be enough. A thrifty round comes through for the members of 120 FPS. One pause is all that they needed to really bring their team back into the limelight. And it already started for that first player. I have no idea why was there such an over-aggressive peek towards B. That was a very risky play, knowing that, hey, 120 FPS, they are on an eco. You cannot go in for a risky play like that over towards the mid side. That's what they want. As soon as you give them a gun, they can instantly rotate over towards the opposite side. And this team gets such a risky fight there early on.
Here.
120 FPS. Was it all to break apart? Swings across.
Oh.
Beautiful shot coming out from Clandestine. Saw Greeny. Shot him right through the clone.
I mean, it took it a little bit of time for AIRAVATA to find their footing, but now that they have, this mammoth is walking right through the jungle.
Not ready yet.
Yet again, a good enough position for the side of AIRAVATA. I am liking Sayonara's odds on this particular fight, but he's not investing into it just yet. Sees the barrel, finds the frag, Zaps is gone. A lot of information is taken away, but now 120 FPS, not only information, they are losing out on the numbers as well. It's a 2v5. I feel like we are up for an overtime. Very quickly so.
There's a good possibility for it. Spam coming out from either side here, Detroit. Doesn't really need to stay in the molly anymore.
30 seconds left.
For now. We're just gonna need to wait and see how this is gonna pan out for them. 120 FPS are just on a full stop now because they need to try and figure out what to do in that next round. Plus, they don't have enough economy, I do believe, to go in for a proper hit here just with 2 people.
10
Saving is a
seconds
better
left.
option. At least they can drop weapons to their teammates in the following round at the bare minimum with the utility that they do have. AIRAVATA, they are at a very significant advantage because of the ultimates that they also have online. We can look at the scorecard just after this round. I do believe that AIRAVATA are close to their other ultimates as well.
That they
Looking
are.
at it,
They are
yeah,
about
one
to
away
get
from the
their
Rolling
rolling
Thunder
Yeah, and one
and
away
into
from
the shadows as well.
exactly, and 2 very important ones nonetheless. They both can be very remarkable ultimates. However, if you talk from the side of 120 FPS as well, they are about to get their dimensional drift online in 1 orb as well. But then again, those are both just
Ooh, that is so risky. I don't know what the game plan is for them. If they get caught out here, 1 death and they are going to fall. Thank God, Sayonara. You tried to play for the timing, but they didn't walk into it. Anyone else, they possibly could have. Waiting for information, 1 inside of the smoke. They have ample amounts to try and play with here. They get the info that they needed on the seaside, but thing is, utilizing that ultimate for information is so risky. Chance being taken away. Zaps needs to run away here as well. Detroit tries to catch him on the rotation, but he's not going to be able to. Still a 5v5 on the map, but an ample amount of utility has already been utilized on either side. Side hit, it's going towards A, but even then, Shrey can't really play as he usually could with those tripwires anymore.
Out of charges.
well, it's definitely one of those situations where you do want to sit and see how things
30
unfold.
seconds left.
The retaliation from both the sides is equally strong. Both of the teams require this round very badly, but AIRAVATA is going to be the one who are going to be able to take this home with a team ace, pushing it to an overtime. A team we were thinking might just
Switching
lose on this
sides.
particular map
Overtime.
very quickly with a very one-sided scoreline has been able to just surmount the overall scoreline. Not only that, also like pick themselves back up from every broken piece and come back very, very strong. I mean, I'm happy for them, for sure. That's definitely there. But I'm kind of also worried for 120 FPS. They had a very good start to this.
Had a good start, but even then, middle of rounds, they just kind of lost their foothold. 120 FPS, they were missing a lot of their key opportunities for gunfights, and they were overthinking a lot of their strategies, causing them to fall into a trap and a loop where they just kept on losing round after round because of it. You need to be careful of what you do, homeboy. Too tight of an angle that is not meant for you. If you're gonna play on an angle like that, you need to play a lot more further back. Now that the operator is no longer even in contention, 120 FPS, this loss is going to be heartbreaking for them going into the next map, if it does happen. It's all up to Zaps now. If he dies here, it's all but over for this round, and the first round of overtime will just be done and dusted.
A very good position, but
The
for
shot.
once, when Clandestine was not holding the operator, he goes right into the face of it and wins the fight.
there.
Okay,
Fake
I
tap.
can see that.
Joke's over. You're
AIRAVATA
dead.
had a very difficult first half in this particular game. They did not have enough rounds, did not have enough frags. But it seems like they are up for that redemption in this particular one. And with an advantage on their own side, they walk into the second round of the overtime.
Switching sides. Match point.
They're able to do wonders here. It's 120 FPS. Not even a single bit of a change in their overall setups. They're taking a lot of very unnecessary risks, and these angle fights from them have been very sloppy. You're gonna use the operator, yes, but at the same time, you need to have a proper idea of where your angle's going to be lining up from. like where this is going to go for them. Zekroid still with a chance. He's going to be the guardian here for the entirety of Garage. He has his flashes to play around with. Still can go in for a swing. Reach stun also being invested, but Zaps is going to be able to catch him out there. Lacking on the angle. The Garage opened up for the members of 120 FPS. They have the man advantage to play around with, but even then, we've seen them falter at every turn from here.
A very early advantage already acquired from the side of 120 FPS, but they are not gonna have way too much time in their hands to keep switching things around. And they are soon to start getting surrounded here. All lined up right in front of Site C, about to march in. Sayonara is the only one holding in here. Is a strong enough player, will be able to delay the push just a little bit, but will require immediate attention from the rest of the team as well. Gets an idea of the move coming in. Gives a call out to the team. The team is about to move in. And look at that crispness of his shots. Sayonara already bidding farewell to the players of 120 FPS, asking them to meet him again on the other map.
One enemy remaining. 10 seconds left.
This guy
Defenders
is a
win.
generational talent. I'm telling you. It's always these players. Like, I'll keep on saying this over and over again, that it's these young players that will always shine the brightest. And because they're under AIRAVATA's entire banner, they don't have Zephy on their team. Robo was trying to fill in those shoes, but that's the thing. Robo is playing the initiator. You have Detroit, who went from initiator onto the duelist. Yes, he was having a phenomenal performance, but he doesn't have that duelist gene in him. But still, at the end of the day, it was Sayonara, another young player, another young talent that really just came out of nowhere and started winning everyone's hearts. Here, once again, he was performing out of his mind, taking that one shot, having that perfect timing to send one bullet into the head of his opponents, being able to shut down Homeboy like that. That is unheard of. 120 FPS, right at the brink of victory. 11-7 scoreline, Ahana. They turned things around from there, went into overtime and took that victory. Now, that is a loss that will sting for the following as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, being in such a winnable situation and then drowning like this gives you two things. One, it gives you a lot of heartache. Two, it gives you a lot of fuel for revenge. So the next map is going to be an even bigger battlefield. It's going to be do or die coming in from the side of 120 FPS, because they did do a lot on this one, but still ended up dying more often. And the next one is going to be their last chance. We are on the lower brackets already, and from here there's nowhere else to go but either home or up. So this is going to be one very difficult one for them. However, AIRAVATA will still have a much easier stroll in their jungle, because they do have one map in their pockets already.
I need to see where this is going to go now. Too many different problems just getting brought up for the members of 120 FPS. They started off so well, but midway through, the team just keeps breaking apart, and I do believe it's just the mid-round protocols that's not working out for them. In the middle of the rounds, they're not really planning on what they want to do, especially the players that were trying to jump in towards the back of site. Normally, you never send one player to the back. You need to send the secondary player that's going to be able to play on that angle as well. Otherwise, it's just a little bit too chaotic. That one player loses their life, then you just can't really do anything at that stage. As you can already tell, that 120 FPS just had a dominant performance throughout every half on that defensive side, but on their attack, they just lost their entire mojo.
True that. I mean, it was a good start, but then again, I think a lot of it had to do with AIRAVATA just still adapting to having to play with Robo instead of Zephy, and then also going to the shift towards Phoenix instead of their usual, in composition. Might have been that, because it very much looked like the moment they started getting comfortable, everything just switched. The tables turned, the tides were literally turning at that moment, and it seemed like AIRAVATA just made a comeback, which was very necessary and very useful to their overall success in this particular season of Showdown series. I mean, I am up for it. I want to see teams go through changes, and the fact that they were that quick to adapt to it just makes me worried for anyone and everyone that they're going to be facing in the near future.
I'm also surprised that Detroit just played Phoenix like we all used to play Phoenix back in the day when Valorant was still very new. He just sat inside of Garage and held Garage for the entire game as a Phoenix player. I find that oddly common. I'm sorry.
There were definitely moments that made everything go downhill for a lot of times for the side of AIRAVATA, but the way they came back from it was just remarkable. This particular round already dictated that AIRAVATA had everything under control and that they were just gonna finish it off. They started the last round with a one-man disadvantage very early on. This one where Detroit got taken off, being one of the ones who was already, most pivotal for the side of AIRAVATA since the beginning. But then again, they did end up coming up on top.
This one was just his. Like Sayonara being on the back of Sai, pretty much the hero of that entire round, being able to take his team over that finish line. Every single player from AIRAVATA really started to show up. Shrey had a little bit more of those slower performances, but honestly, Shrey, once he really starts to frag out compared to his team, you know that the entire team is just going to win on a landslide victory. We've seen that in the past in their previous matchup that they did 2 days ago. And again, more times that we see AIRAVATA, we do see how the team is evolving with every single match. 120 FPS though. I see a couple of the sparks of the team that we know and love, but on the map of Haven, I don't know how to say this, but it became, how do I put it, like a headless chicken just running around trying to figure stuff out at the very middle. They had a good plan going into the round, but they lost everything that they were trying to show right at the very end because either one of their players died and they relied on their player a little bit too much to make their plans happen. Their adaptability took a massive hit if any one of their members died out of position.
I agree. I mean, there has to be a lot more fueling done for the side of 120 FPS for the coming matches. They do have to be able to feed each other with their own energies because, as I mentioned, even in the beginning of this map, like 120 FPS was constantly getting rounds after rounds, specifically for being in a position where they were just able to stack together and go ahead and fight with it. Weren't able to replicate it towards the second half of it. But well, talking about the MVP, as we were talking since a very long time, he was definitely one of the players that just kept making marks for the side of AIRAVATA time and again since the beginning. So Detroit had to be it and is it.
We're just gonna need to wait and see how this is gonna go. You can already tell that Detroit is here to punch the hell out of people just from his pose. I'm pretty sure that he's gonna be carrying that energy over onto the next game as well. 26, 18, and 9, ladies and gentlemen, for Detroit here with a 23% headshot percentage. Knowing him, he will not stop at any instance to really showcase what he's going to be capable of moving forward onto the next map. But we are going to be talking about the next map. Make sure to check out all of the links down below in the description as well, because our lovely sponsors are making all of this possible. Don't forget that it's just season number 6. You think that we're going to have a season number 7? Of course we're going to have a season number 7. If you want to make things happen, check out our lovely sponsors at Zoda Gaming. Of course, they are the ones making everything possible for us. And of course, our production crew putting in their hearts and souls to make sure that we bring you the best Valorant action possible. But as we set everything up for game number 2, don't go anywhere because Valorant action here at the Esports Club starts.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the Esports Club Presents Showdown Series Season 6 of Valorant, powered by Crucial by Micron, GPU partners Zotac Gaming and media partners Gossip.gg, plus my caster desk partner Aggressive. Welcome back to the show, Aggressive, and tell me what you feel about the next coming map, because both of these teams, they are giving a tough competition to each other.
Absolutely. The competition is just going to get even harder, I do believe, because map number 3 could be on the horizon. I'm guessing that map 3 is a lot more of a possibility now compared to what I expected before. I thought that 120 FPS after their cold-hearted start, they're just going to be able to run away with one. It's going to be a 20-minute dominant game. We're going to be jumping into game number 2, and we're going to be done with that. But no, it was a complete opposite. It was a very close call game. 11-7 on the scorecards, went into overtime where the members of AIRAVATA were able to take that victory. They got into the heads of 120 FPS, and unless 120 FPS were able to bounce back from the loss that they just witnessed, the map of Bind is not going to get any experience. Plus, AIRAVATA have a lot of very interesting strategies on this map that they need to worry about. Possibly a Harbor, but I don't think that's going to be a pickup for them. Omen Brimstone is the much more better option here, but they're going to be picking up on that Omen instead. This is interesting to say the very least, that AIRAVATA, they're going in for a little bit more of a weaker utility setup, but at the same time the Omen with the flash is just able to give you a lot more value as well.
True that. I do want to see how it unfolds for the side of AIRAVATA, because in the beginning of the day itself, when I said that I believe that the matches are going to be very close called, but it's still going to be a 2-0, I was leaning in towards the side of AIRAVATA, because I believe that that is one of the teams that can definitely be challenged very well by the likes of 120 FPS, but still one of the teams that can always turn things around towards the last few rounds and take it home. So I think that belief in AIRAVATA from my side is kind of shaking, looking at the way the agent selection has gone from their side. But then again, I'm obviously very excited to see how they're going to utilize it to the maximum potential, because then again, Bind is one of those maps that does not follow very conventional styles of playing. You can definitely play around it quite a lot because of all the all the things provided from the map itself that can be utilized. The teleportals being one of it, and the easy rotations being the other one of it. So I believe that this is definitely going to be a very interesting one to see how it unfolds.
Another thing that you have to remember is the Phantom is now a lot more of a buster weapon. So
Yes.
those long-range fights don't really exist on the map of Bind as much. So the Phantom is going to be reigning supreme. I think finally we are in a meta of weapons where you need to make a decision of what rifle you're going to be playing and which position. Before, yeah,
Exactly.
already you were in that scenario of, oh, if I'm playing in this position, I should be playing this rifle. But then again, why should I be doing it and give up on myself playing a Vandal? Now you're being forced onto that because the Phantom is so strong in almost every other scenario that the Vandal will only be viable, let's say, if you're playing towards Showers. And Showers, you always want to get that one-tap burst and try to get out as quickly as possible so your opponents are not able to trade you. Or if you're playing towards B long. those are the only two positions I would say where the Vandal would be viable on this particular map. Everywhere else, the Phantom just will reign supreme in every other regard. Now, teams,
Exactly.
I don't believe that in our region they're going to be thinking about it as deeply, especially for this tournament. Of course, the players are a little bit too preoccupied with thinking of strategies, but I do believe as the game evolves even further and people start to pick up on this particular thing, it will drastically change how we look at Valorant as a game. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure that the players have also witnessed this as well, because I see that Sayonara, originally he always used to pick up on that Vandal, but now he's swapping in between. Sometimes he plays a Phantom, sometimes he's playing a Vandal, trying to fit into every situation that's given.
Exactly, and also considering Bind is one of those maps where you see way too much smokes going on all the time. Like there's way too many corners to cover with a smoke, way too many sides where you're forced to put up a smoke and cover yourself. Be in a position where you can take those fights from behind it, and those fights just flow better with the Phantom. And now with the buff, it just becomes much more optimal choice for any of the person playing on Bind. I mean, as you mentioned, obviously there are a couple of positions where you could still opt for the Vandal, but I don't think that's gonna hinder the overall decision making, because both of those positions do get played towards the beginning of the round for sure, but they are not the positions you keep holding on to till the end of it. So they are a very short interval positions, and to be able to challenge them with a Phantom, they could be coming up with ways like using a molly in the beginning so that you can have a lower HP opponent walking in towards you or something like that. I mean, again, up to the decision making of the players who go ahead and play the map.
We're going to be jumping into the game soon, ladies and gentlemen. The map of Bind will be very interesting to see at the very least, because the way that Bind is as a map, it hasn't really changed much. I would say it's one of the much more balanced maps in the entire map pool as well. There have been small changes here and there, but Bind as a map is just going the same way as per usual. One of the much more hated things that I've seen on the map of Bind is how difficult it is to access the back side on the A side.
Exactly.
Because even if you're able to take A short control, unless you have showers, you're pretty much screwed. You need to split push on the A side. You cannot full send yourself onto one particular side. If you do, you're going to be in for a world of hurt, but for the members of ABT, it seems like the world of hurt is going to be on the opposite side. I don't know why Clandestine played that aggressively towards A main, because he just gave away his life in a very precarious situation where his teammates are never going to be able to find a treat.
Let's see, that early disadvantage is definitely going to put AIRAVATA wondering, scratching hands. A Robo just walking a little back, making sure that he has enough cover for himself when he goes into the fights. I was hoping to see a little bit of Phoenix usage in place of Sky on this particular one, but I don't see that happening that quickly though.
30
Key
seconds left.
positions just being given away at that point. Sayonara need to hit a shot, but he's not going to be able to do much. Ray not going to be the last line of defense for it all. He's going to be able to shut down two.
B.
Take us back down to a lot more of a contested position. He does have a spike in his arsenal and has information to play with. He needs to be the perfect anchor for the team. He cannot really lose out on this. 10 seconds left on the clock. They're going to be able to get the plant though, regardless. Over on the opposite side, we need to make the rotation happen soon. Robo spots out one, but can't really do much with it. Entire angle completely cleared out. One already spotted. Another player towards elbow. This is not going to be an easy retake. There's too many different variables that they need to worry about.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Well, it did give enough opportunity for the side of Shrey to go ahead and find his frag, but it's still gonna be requiring more than just that. He needs to go into one more fight. The reload just happened at the wrong moment. If only he had enough bullets, he could have actually converted this fight into a victory.
Wipe the pins from your
There's way too many musical instruments available for Greedy. He goes in with the flute and now with the harmonica. Alrighty.
This was a little bit too close for comfort. Greeny though
That goes there.
would have gotten that. Like he got that perfectly for himself. had the setup, and even though the HP was a little bit contested for, but regardless of it, they're able to hold and survive for it all. AVT now. They're gonna be able to just hold on to this for as long as they possibly can. Clandestine takes a little bit of damage away from that Euro, and Shrey trying to be aggressive on his own accord. He's expecting someone to maybe push their way in towards Zuka late into the round. That is the most optimum play, but because of the way that the tripwires are set up as of right now, and how Cypher generally is going to be played in the future, you're only playing for info trips. You can't really set up kill trips anymore for yourself. Flash out early, the shots connecting, but Homeboy able to bring things down into a lot more of a contested angle. Early for the fight, the shot is yet there to connect. Shrey dealing the damage and dealing all of the hurt that he needs to. But Homeboy still being a danger man. One more to be found. The weapon not in the favor of Clandestine whatsoever. He wanted to make the difference, but at the end, Shrey, he's going to be the one to find it instead. 0-2, but AVT, they dealt a little bit of damage at the bare minimum to 120 FPS to make them rethink the strategy.
I mean, I wanted to see a little more damage coming in from the side of AIRAVATA for this one to be considered a successful round. I mean, we all knew it was a very slim chance of this converting into a round that they win. But then again, it being a round where they could not drop more than 3 weapons is definitely a loss for their side. But well, it is what it is. We will still get to see yet another round where AIRAVATA now has good enough buys for themselves and will be able to face 120 FPS in full-fledged manner. And also in one of those places where they are more capable of taking long-range fights than their opponents. So let's see if AIRAVATA will be able to convert this for their favor and start a roller coaster moment from here.
Portal closed.
Is it a very good idea to leave Octagon completely open for the push?
Not really the best position either for them. Then again, they don't really have much of a choice. They're trying to let go of Long as much as they can, hold on to Hookah just to allow the idea that, hey, we can go in for a possible flank and try to break through from the opposite side. But with members of 120 FPS, I like the fact that they're showing a lot of respect to their opposition, understanding that we can't easily go in for a rush, but if we're able to time things right, it will be better. Ultimate now being utilized. Nate immediately coming through the block of any form of an early-sided entry. They have the satchel. Move around. I do believe that was a misplay, but it's completely fine. NZ getting a beautiful catch. Homeboy with an immediate swing is going to be able to take out another. And one by one, the members of 120 FPS really showcasing that they are not swayed by what happened in that last map. They're able to hold. And they're able to do it beautifully. Shrey on the angle, but the shots just do not connect. That's Homeboy for you, ladies and gentlemen. He is ready to take fights, and he's making sure that he pays them back for every round lost on the map tape.
Well, we should not forget that it was an 11-7 that AIRAVATA made the comeback from. So I don't really see a lot to worry about for the side of AIRAVATA just yet. But yes, I am definitely liking the way 120 FPS is playing right now. Now with the Showstopper online, it's definitely going to be a difficult position near the Octagon for the players of AIRAVATA, and I think they will get shut off very quickly from here. And okay, the opportunity has been taken away completely. Clandestine does not make a lot of mark there, but he does take off one of the very important players. The Showstopper is off the board now. However, it's a 2v4 retake scenario that's going to be created from this side of 120 FPS. And that's not going to be easy to deal with. Robo is way too far.
Tripwire, just waiting for him. They're just gonna get caught out by pretty much everything. Playing for exit frags is the best that they can hope for. Simplicity of the design is not gonna be there, but they might just get caught off on multiple different angles. Homeboy is waiting with the same flash, and as soon as any noise is made, it's gonna be able to burn everything out. Smoke out early. Sayonara with the swing. He's not going to be able to catch that one as Homeboy is looking for more, but Robo shuts him down. brings him back down to earth. There's a chance he can go in for a save, but that is not going to be the instance here for him. It's Robo. He wants the kills, and he's just going to be able to get it. Gets a weapon for his troubles at the bare minimum, as he's just going to keep on hunting down the players. If he gets to keep the weapon, that's just a bonus for him, but overall, setup was well done. ABT, they're able to take out 3 guns, but for 120 FPS, the economy is no longer going to be a problem.
Well, the stability is definitely something that AIRAVATA will be looking for in this particular one. They are going to be using that regen shield on Sayonara. Let's see how much benefit that's going to be giving him. I'm excited to see how the regen shield actually, fits in the whole meta. But well, so far it's just one player using it. More because of lack of investment. But well, in the meanwhile, Cladenstein will be taken away with his clone Yoru. It's not looking good for them. I am worried for them right now. And the worry is visible on their own players as well. AIRAVATA not looking that good. Decroid not being able to put up as many marks on the overall scoreboard as he was before.
Gonna be able to find a little bit of an answer. Trades from either side. Well done at the end of the day, but Shrey, he was ready for the duel. He's gonna be able to find it too. This is so crucial for as long as he's able to survive. It's gonna be huge, but Prime! Free fire, gorgeously done. Sayonara. They both are here on the site. Immediately able to utilize the teleport.
30 seconds left.
Jump across over towards the opposite side here. Double-sided pincer. Robo is holding down the angle, but Enzi's not giving it to him. He has to work for it. No real utility either. Swinging in, and Enzi not ready for the duel. Opts for the spray and gets caught out for it. It's Robo. He's feeling the shoes of Zeppi beautifully here. You do miss him, but at the end, still gonna be able to survive and hold Prime. Just gonna be sticking it. This is Sayonara for you, ladies and gentlemen. He's not gonna get off the spike no matter what happens. That's his playstyle as a player, and that's his conviction.
I mean, I do have to hit up my chemistry professor and be like, you were talking about bonds, you were talking about sticking. I think you need to meet Sayonara. That's the strongest bond that Sayonara has with a spike. He sticks. Does not leave at all. I think this is something 120 FPS should know by now.
See how this is going to be going for them. Deployed in the back. Still needs to be a little bit of an instance where the team is going to be coming together a bit more. Because as of right now, we're yet to see them really play according to their strengths.
Who's next?
Combination of the duelists that we did see in that last game really just isn't here just yet for them. It's Homeboy. He's trying to get as much space as he possibly can. Sayonara is going to be able to catch out the one lurking greenie over towards the back. He's now looking for more paranoia to give them a little bit more of an edge as Enzi just jumping around, being the bunny that he is. He's going to be looking for more. Robo able to dodge out the flash, but he's not going to be able to get the kill right on the back. So for now, it's all about holding. Clandestine, you don't even need to do anything, buddy. They're going to be coming into your waiting arms instead. Doing pretty much everything. Decroid, he's holding down the angle for everyone. He gets the kill that he needs, but Enzi over from the top rope. No one's really expecting him. Position's already given, but he's going to be able to find the double. Enzi with a possible ace here. And Shrey needs to be the game changer.
That he does. Will be able to take away the utility from the side of NZ.
Spike planted.
Kind of confusing him of his whereabouts. Does have a great position though. I don't think NZ is gonna risk peeking on this side though. He wants the fight to come to him. He has kept himself completely covered from one of the angles. Will only be looking at the other, but both of them are unaware of the position of the other. Will result in NZ with the better reflex. finding him, spotting him, and then picking him up. NZ with yet another round for the side of 120 FPS. One that was easily supposed to be in the arms of AIRAVATA. I I don't know if I can really blame AIRAVATA for this one. Actually, I can. I can. If I try, I can blame anyone for anything. But let me not.
Just like you blame me for everything.
You are to blame. Excuse me.
For sure. When Manoj exists, why do I need to get blamed? But seemingly Robo and Clandestine, they're the one to be the ones to blame for a possible loss here for the members of 120 FPS. Losing both of their players that early on a fast rush. They don't really want to see something like this, but the weapons yet to be retrieved. They're not going to be able to get it here at all. So they're still fighting with just a couple of sheriffs into their hands. Early peek, beautifully done. Clandestine, he gets the opening hit over on towards one, but immediately Greeny's going to get healed up back up to full HP, but still 2 body shots away from these sheriffs. Elbow control completely lost out, and they need to clear this one out soon. Robo, he's expecting this early on the pickup, but homeboy, he's going to be able to shut it down instead. Sayonara needs to go in for a possible lurk here, but with the teleport now being taken by Shrey, the element of surprise is just completely gone.
Spike planted.
There was a chance that maybe it could have been different, but once more, the rounds are just slipping away from their fingers. One missed opportunity and a shot onto the player from elbow just completely broke everything apart.
Last player standing.
Well, it so has happened. Homeboy still continuing with his spree. Will still be dealing damage on Shrey, leading to a victory for 120 FPS. 1-6 as the scoreline stands. We've seen these numbers before. But this time around, I think the determination from the side of 120 FPS to actually convert it into a victory looks stronger.
Always still have to talk about deja vu. But at the same time, can't really count the chickens before they hatch just yet, because the members of 120 FPS, they have made significant mistakes in that last round, causing them to head on over to a 1 versus 2 situation. It's never gonna be clean, but regardless of it, they need to try and survive for as long as they possibly can. NZ does get taken out in the process. Shrey needs to live here for as long as he possibly can. Clandestine comes in for another big save. He does have the judge to play around with. Prime position, probably known. Sayonara, last one alive, goes on the corner. Now being utilized. He's not going to be able to hit the headshot, and Clandestine instead will bring him back down to earth. 2-6, ladies and gentlemen, as AIRAVATA finally adding onto their tally just a tiny bit here. It seems the history is actually repeating itself, Ahana. We were in this exact place before as well. It was right on a 1-6 scoreline where they were able to take a round. It feels scripted, but at the same time, it's not, ladies and gentlemen. We are as shocked as you are.
True that. I mean, if this leads to an 8-4, I'll not be surprised. It takes time for AIRAVATA to find its own footing, but once they do, they are definitely a difficult team to deal with. But well, let's take a look at how this particular round is going to unfold, because one round at a time is how we're supposed to go. 120 FPS this time around. Yet again, they have sent their Cypher in way too far towards the market area, and towards B is where they will be executing yet again. Shrey this time around is going to be aware of the position of Greeny. Will be making sure that he keeps watching Hookah while the teammate is alive. Robo though being pretty sneaky with his moves. Oh no. He knows what's coming.
Going to be able to answer in kind here. Clandestine does have the ultimate to get himself back into a different position. Decroid on the angle, but the flash catches one. But he has the better timing. That is the most important part of it all. Clandestine, he needs to live for as long as he possibly can. Possibly catch out the player who is opting for the rotation. Not prepared and ready. Clandestine, that is him in his element. Greeny, none the wiser for it. Trey to be the game changer for his team here. Sayonara able to find the first, but they are just not able to turn things around. This is 120 FPS for you, ladies and gentlemen. These close proximity maps is where this team really shines their brightest.
They are
These
yet
hard hits.
again. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They are yet again just going on stacking together and just, making heaven and earth move for their team. But then again, if there is an 8-4 swap, it's going to be comfortable enough for the side of AIRAVATA to change things around once they come on the attacking half of it. Because again, you can stack as much as you want towards the attacking half, but you won't be able to carry forward the same thing towards the defense. And that's where AIRAVATA was able to trample them completely in the last map as well. So I want to see if that's going to be the same case on this one as well, or if 120 FPS has plans on how to deal with the defensive side of this. Clandestine yet again on a very good position with his favorite weapon.
Buried.
Gonna need to see how this is gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Both Euros just completely died out together.
Yeah.
1-for-1 trade, literally in that sense.
Exactly where you are.
Not finding any value on either end, but for now, they're gonna be able to play things out slowly. Sayonara towards elbow. Has a flash already. Easily go in for this fight, but this is so risky. Sayonara doesn't really find much to do there, even after the nerfs. The Vandal sometimes can be such a cruel mistress.
That it is. I mean, if Sayonara was just able to put his dark cover up just a couple seconds in advance, he might have been able to take that fight very well. But well, in this particular situation, all he can do is wait for his team to come back into another round and then start aggressing yet again. This round is definitely gone, and all they want to do is save their weapons, as they should. Oh no, Greeny is entering with a judge. It could be punishing. No, it's not. Robo survives with very little HP, but he does. Zaps is gonna follow through though, not leaving him. He dies with nothing.
He's gonna be chasing Zabs down over to the last corner. Want to make sure that Zab doesn't survive through that one. But overall, I would say that the members of AVT, they need to get these last 2 rounds under their belt if they want to have a fighting chance over on the defensive side either. Do have the exact same composition other than the Brimstone, and I do believe that the Brimstone is the biggest game changer for them. Having that ultimate that can easily nullify any form of a plan just adds so much more value. Plus, with the Steam Beacon, you can easily go in for a lot more faster rotations, possibly to cut off the players that are trying to take entry over onto the B side as well. You need to play for options, and unless they do so, it's going to be tough. Opening. Found out. Small bits of information for them as Sayonara. Good for 1 kill, but gets immediately traded out from the side. 1-for-1, but not really a favorable one at that, because the defense, they lost out on their smoke. So they can no longer go in for easy retakes or a proper post plant anymore. But if Detroit's going to be able to find kills like that, you found 2, never mind in the process. That's perfect for them. They have the advantage playing into this.
They do, and it's a 3v2 in a position where they have one player caught off guard completely while trying to plant, but then again that Seeker just came in correct timing to throw the Groid off. Now it's Shrey versus 2. Shrey with the last chance at being able to give the team an 8-4, which he will fail it, so it's a 9-2 already. The maximum they can hope for is a 9.
Last round before the switch.
If not, we might literally see a 120 FPS walk into the second half with a double digit on their boards already.
Just gonna need to wait and see now. 2-9, ladies and gentlemen. 120 FPS. They're just running away on the map of Mind. Doing whatever the hell they want. And they're taking every advantage that they can possibly get here. Small instances.
Why do I
and
have a
fixes
feeling
are
it's a quick hit?
It could be. But at the same time, A looks very ripe for the picking for them. Flash is going to slow them down just to the tiniest of degrees, but look at the flank coming in all the way towards the back. 120 FPS, they have the read. And the Brimstone, he's already lurking up. He doesn't even need to do anything. That showers control for you, even if the kills did not happen from the defenders. Sorry, from the attackers on A main. It was a different story immediately. Weapon swapped out, has a shorty. They're just going to clean them up one after the other. That's 120 FPS, taking the 10th round on the board. It's 2-10, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the defensive side does exist for the members of 120 FPS, and maybe on the attack side it's going to be easier for AIRAVATA. But
Not now.
that doesn't matter.
Exactly. Not now, not after this scoreline. Because again, as we kept saying again and again, 120 FPS is making use of the advantage of just having all of their players walk into a fight hand in hand and just showing that unity is gonna make you win fights. They cannot do this on the defensive side, but all they need is 2 rounds, and 2 rounds you could literally get them in pistols if you wanted. And you never know, right now they just might be running so high on confidence that they might just aggress on the defensive half as well in a very attacking manner. Look at that. How far in is NZ?
He
has no fear.
Utility. Yeah. Especially after what happened this long, I don't think you're supposed to have any fear in your eyes whatsoever. They do have full short control though, which is one of the bigger issues, but as long as Showers is under pressure, you're not going to be able to go in for a plant for free. So much spam that will be coming into your wake, and this is what you would love to see. 120 FPS. Try to test a strategy. Waste out all of the smokes, go in for the spam, and make sure your opponents are not able to go in for a plant anymore. As long as they live, this is just done. Flanks also coming through from the back. Members of AIRAVATA, they don't have a read on this map.
They do not, and they weren't able to put a plant in either, so they do not have the opportunity of going in for a force buy on the next one, which could literally result into a match point for the side of 120 FPS.
Cutting through.
Surprising to say the very least that members of AIRAVATA, they're going to be forced onto a force buy. They don't really have much of a chance to do anything else at this point. The way that all these rounds have been panning out for them, Detroit though, never mind, utilizing the force buys to its fullest. They're able to find a little bit more of an edge here to play with. Homeboy answering back on his own accord. Does find the trade, but plant yet to be imminent. Homeboy still hitting the shots that they need. And one turn after the next. This is 120 FPS for you, ladies and gentlemen. Even when the man disadvantage is working against them, they're still able to survive and thrive. And ABT, the story just gets sadder and sadder at every second. Because they are just being read like an open book, and nothing that they bring onto the table is not surprising. 120 FPS whatsoever. This is their team. This is how good that they will play.
Oh, I'm worried. I'm worried for AIRAVATA right now. Because again, it's not just about losing a map. They had one already in their pockets. They are in a comfortable position in that manner. But losing a map with that big of a scoreline difference, you could not bring your confidence back into the game after that. Not easily, at least. This is gonna dent a lot more than just a scoreline. Right into the showers. Up and running. AIRAVATA keeps taking damage to themselves. It's a 3v4 right now. 120 FPS, having the bigger number of players for themselves, and make it a 1v4 nonetheless. Homeboy just being himself.
They're done. You would expected this to go a little bit more differently, but the map of mine really did exceed our expectations for the members of 120 FPS. Them picking a possible victory in map number 1 seems to be what really ignited a fire under this team. They made a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes just didn't exist in map number 2. They were the ones exploiting every nook and cranny being given away by the members of AIRAVATA at every turn. And the thing is, AIRAVATA just didn't really have that spark that they did in map number 1. The duelists were not really playing off of each other as often. They were not really making those aggressive duels as they usually do. And in a way, this map just kind of fell through in more ways than one. I would have expected them to play a little bit more better on the end turf of it all, because first things first, I would say that AIRAVATA kind of played very scared throughout the entire game. They were not really as aggressive as they normally would be. Yes, on some rounds they really did put their pedal to the metal and really took those fights, but they only did it on those eco rounds. And we're going to be jumping on over into the crucial moments so you guys can see as well that on the eco rounds, AIRAVATA were very aggressive. They wanted to take a lot of fights, but as soon as the buy rounds came in, they gave away so much space for free that it didn't make any sense.
I just cannot believe the way AIRAVATA has, fallen through the cracks on this particular one. I mean, there was going to be just one winner, right? And it could have been either. But the scoreline difference, we were expecting this to be a very close one, just like the first map. And I mean, towards the second half, things could change around, probably, hopefully, but none of that opportunity was left behind by the players of 120 FPS. They made sure that in the first half itself, they were able to put themselves in a place that is comfortable enough for them to go ahead and, make the best of. I don't know what the next map holds anymore, because you could still see 120 FPS just go ahead and be themselves. Unless and until there's some adjustments coming in from the side of AIRAVATA to challenge that. On the attacking half, 120 FPS is unstoppable.
It's just the strength of the team. 120 FPS as those close range maps come into fruition even more. I'm scared to say what's going to happen next. Think about it, Ahana. I have yet to see them really utilizing the Phantoms here, but I guess our region's going to take a little bit of time to get used to those Phantoms moving on down the line. It is going to be meta defining, but on Split and Bind, as long as these maps exist, one weapon will add a lot of value.
That it will. I mean, it took a while even for the shorties to show up for our region, but once it did, it changed a lot of things, as we saw in the last frag as well. Look at that, Homeboy has 24 frags for himself. He has crossed the 400 threshold for ACS as well. Goes to say something about the player.
Revenge. Yeah, he's gonna take all the revenge that he can for what happened to him in map number 1. Guy was performing well, but his performance took a nosedive down when it came down to the very end. Thankfully, he's gonna be able to get back that form going for this particular matchup here. I do believe that 120 FPS as a team, they are the ones that really thrive on getting an advantage early and just snowballing it out of control throughout the entire game. But if you're able to stop them at any point of the game and you're able to get a much more closer pace with 120 FPS, that's where the team really starts to struggle the most. This has been a recurring theme for them for the last couple of seasons too. And I'm really hoping that as we head on down over into a Split, the map that is notorious for the most amount of overtimes, it might be a bit of a change up, where 120 FPS are able to keep their stable form and the ground that they were able to establish on the map of Bind, and have Homeboy or even NZ just completely run everything down.
And an ADR of 264? Are you kidding me? A 264 ADR? This just reminds me of one particular thing. There's this one dialogue in one of the Hindi web series, I think. Sabka badla lekar hai tera Faisal. He's doing that. Just taking revenge for every single teammate that dies from his side. But yeah, a very well deserved MVP of the map to Homeboy.
It's gonna be interesting because in map number 3, I do believe that we're gonna be seeing that young gun that we've been talking about constantly through the entire phase of this tournament, and maybe with AIRAVATA having that resurgence of Zeppi coming on back onto the roster, could be the thing that they need to bring back match number 3 and keep their tournament dreams alive. Because don't forget, this is the lower bracket, ladies and gentlemen. And on that lower brackets, there's no more second chances. As we set up game number 3, make sure to check out all the links down below in the description as we head on down over into a very short little break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with the Swift Showdown Series Season 6 Valorant, powered by Crucial by Micron, with our GP runners Zoda Gaming, and your partners, Gossip.gg. The extravaganza and the marathon of this best of three began with a very close showing and a comeback. Two really was a different taste entirely. Very sweet and cold at the same time. The revenge was served from the side of 120 FPS, taking a 13-2 victory on the map of Vine. Completely unheard of, because AIRAVATA as a team really had this map under the bag in their previous matchups. But 120 FPS, now they need to perform that exact same level of caliber gameplay on map number 3, because Split will not be easy whatsoever for them, knowing the track record of AIRAVATA.
Exactly. However, nothing can be said just yet. Nothing can be said just yet, because being on the attacking half, 120 FPS does magic for their own team. The way they just march it, it's completely unimaginable. And I don't think AIRAVATA has an answer for that just yet. If AIRAVATA still is able to squeeze at least 4 to 5 rounds in that half, then I can expect them to have an easier second half. But then again, unless that's the case, there isn't a lot that can be done.
Seems like there's a
They're in a
chance
rush
that
to get
Siege
over
will
with
get
it.
picked up. Yeah,
Yes.
it's getting pretty late too. Don't really forget about that. Sage is also gonna get
I'm
picked up
like,
here. Not really that big of a
Mhm.
surprise, because out of all the characters, I do believe that Sage, receiving a lot of her buffs plus having the resurrection get back down to only 7 ult points, you're gonna be able to see the Sage perform those miraculous saves and clutches a lot more often compared to before, and ult orb control will be a lot more important as well, similar to what it was in the past. If I remember, that Sage was very strong as a character just because she had that ability to easily resurrect someone because of those 7 ult points that she was able to accumulate quickly. Now, though, on the other side of the spectrum, I do believe that if there is a Neon in play,
Cypher also
that
has
could be the
started
biggest.
requiring 7 or Yeah, I mean, in this particular matchup, I think it's going to be pretty important for both these teams to go ahead and make sure that they get the best out of their own agent selections. We do see a raise on both sides, and same for the Cypher can be said. But then again, if you talk about the controllers, then from the side of Eravat, we are seeing Omen, which has been a long time favorite on this particular map. But then Astra, with all of her buffs, is currently in a position where she can actually change things around quite a lot. Not only does she have extra stars, but her stars have a lot of versatility when it comes to utility. So you can actually expect more from this agent. Quite a complex agent to play, needs to be constantly aware of what they're doing. But then again, being in the hands of Homeboy, who, by the way, currently is one of the best playing players in this particular set of 10, we can expect a lot.
Yeah.
We can expect a lot. Now, talking
Can't
about.
really forget about another thing
Mhm.
though,
Yeah.
because Zephy is now back onto the table as well. So Homeboy
Oh,
does have a lot of competition to go up against. Single
he's
duelist
not even playing
composition though.
duelist anymore, though.
Still, he's gonna be able to do a lot. Think about it. The
True.
members of 120 FPS, they've shifted away from the whole double duelist composition and now are running the controller double sentinel setup. So it's a bit of a change in dynamic to what they were doing in the past. So maybe, just maybe, it could be their biggest remark. But Clandestine, he's actually gonna be the one to pick himself up as a tank. Look at him. Clandestine also bought out the Region Shield here for this first round. So maybe the ISO does have a couple of things that he can cook up.
We'll soon find out. I am having high hopes from the side of Detroit for this one, though, because the first map, the way he showed up was pretty amazing, and that was one lifeline that Arawath had to feed off of. But if this map around they are not able to show up the way they did on the first one, they cannot hope for much. However, being on the defensive side on Split does give them a little bit of a benefit. We do know that Split is highly defense favored. But then again, having a Sage with 120 FPS puts them in a place where they can actually, dictate the pace of the game, depending on whichever side they want to go to and how they want to approach it.
Already does depend on how it's going to be panning out for them. The pause has been taken over. Now we're going to be jumping back in towards the game almost immediately. Everyone's already ready and prepped for it. And Zephy's onto the table. Going to be interesting to see how this is going to be going. Robo is the first line of contact. Stun comes out in towards the back as kind of gave away his position a little bit too early. That's going to be a problem for them. And Destine needs to be the game changer, but up against this rush, they can't really do anything. Everyone ran in through the mid side. And because the members of AVT, they were playing a bit too aggressively, they couldn't really run anywhere.
I agree. Now the smoke is going to give a lot of cover to the players from the side of 120 FPS. They stayed inside, got their frag, and then it was just a 1v5. A flawless start to the day for the side of 120 FPS. I don't... Okay, let's just wait and watch for a while on this one before we make any comments on what's happening.
Don't forget that the WK nature of 120 FPS is their biggest strength too, at the end of the day. Speed of these executes are what's giving them that slight edge as well to play with. For them, the answer is pretty much dominant on every accord. It's 120 FPS, they just swing out. They're gonna be able to catch Clandestine. Saving grace for him is the fact that he was able to pick up that orb before he did die, so one step closer towards that kill contract. Couple of little plays here and there. Deployed possibly could be the one looking for a kill, as long as he's able to bait it out. 1-for-1 trade coming on to either side, but for AVT, they're gonna thank their lucky stars if they get even 2 more at this point.
They could not. They have good enough weaponry remaining with them at the end of the round, and 120 FPS is gonna have a very comfortable third round as well. However, AIRAVATA will be coming in with full force on this one with enough weaponry. But if they will be able to change the results of this one, it's a question that I still look at. We cannot let loose on too many rounds in the first half. That's for sure. AIRAVATA will keep finding out whatever is coming in from the side of 120 FPS.
For now, though,
Mm-hmm.
you can see that they are not really being as aggressive as you would normally see them.
Oh, the position on Zephy is good. He gets one, but instantly gets traded. However, Detroit will be there to give him enough support. The numbers will stay up for the side of AIRAVATA as long as they can keep it. But the number of weapons they've lost so far is not looking good.
Yeah, a lot of these close proximity fights really didn't favor them whatsoever here, but Detroit being a bit of a dangerous player on his own turf. He's able to take full control of main. That's perfect for them. Because this double-sided pincer is what they would really need. Meaning, does have a forward-sided tripwire that he's going to be able to place and play for if he wants to, but don't really forget that these tripwires not really as strong as they used to be because you don't really know which players are going to be on those angles anymore. Dangers start to arise as everyone from the members of 120 FPS, they're not looking as good as you would have hoped for. Zekroid beats the timing. It's going to be able to walk out as quickly as he possibly can. It all does depend on whether Greeny's going to be able to read it. The timing is key, and poor old Detroit just got caught in it. Trey's position revealed, ready and waiting. It's going to be NZ with a spray to finish him off. 120 FPS. They take the third round for themselves. It was a shaky start, but at the end, they were able to bounce back.
Oh, this is gonna give zero opportunity for AIRAVATA to go ahead and find a stability in their economy. I mean, 120 FPS right now is flooded with threads, while on the other hand, AIRAVATA just cannot find enough. Being on the defensive side, being in a place where you have to trade off between your weaponry and your utilities is definitely very, very difficult. But also being the team that lost that badly in the last map, it takes away your confidence. And in that position, being where you cannot really get all you need, you'll be questioning all the decisions you make.
Cage trigger. Put down.
Absolutely.
A good start
Ray,
from Tracy.
somehow he's gonna be able to get a kill from a tripwire. Even after all of these recent updates. Will do quite a lot. Shrey gets double kill. The sheriff plays coming out from him. So crucial and key, but Homeboy is still carrying up the momentum and energy that he had from the last map. Even on an Astra, his fragging potential will not take a hit.
Leave it to me. I'll rough them up.
This is Homeboy for you, ladies and gents. It's ABT.
Yep.
They lose another round, but they're getting closer and closer to maybe inching out a possible.
That they are, but at the same time, look at 120 FPS. The ultimates they have online are pretty impressive and pretty useful being on the attacking side. They have a showstopper, gonna be able to create a lot of space, and an astral divide that's gonna be able to hold on to that space. I think they are gonna have a very easy breezy time making sure that they get themselves easy access to site B. If they choose to.
We go on my mark.
There's too many dependencies and variables for it though. They don't really prefer dangerous running back. They need to be careful of where they go with this. As for them, it's like a waiting game. Cross about. Do see them being able to take a little bit of a turnaround play. Jump across over towards the opposite side of this. AVT, they have slowed down 120 FPS over to a crawl as they're trying to scramble for any bits of map control that they're going to be able to get. Ultimate does come through for NZ. He's able to find one. Spots out the toes of the first. Spots out another one, but the trade doesn't really come through. Couldn't really bring out the util as quickly as he possibly hoped for. And Robo!
Spike down B.
Showcasing his robotic aim. AVT, they take the first round for themselves. A very crucial one at that to turn the tides of this battle.
Absolutely. However, they haven't been able to shake the grounds for 120 FPS enough to be able to put them in shambles. But yes, there is definitely going to be an opportunity for the set of AIRAVATA to go ahead and find themselves the footing that they need in this one.
That goes there.
A good enough setup on site A from the side of Cypher, but being able to hold it off completely alone is going to be kind of difficult. I feel like with this particular setup, all he can hope to do is save himself if a rush comes in, not really be able to stall the players. But Cladenstein is definitely going to be in a good enough position to fight that off when it comes to it. The support has arrived.
Cage trigger.
Shrey can be a game changer, and he turns out to be. He did spot Sage as well, wasn't able to go ahead and take that frag. Got detected, and now it's all the information rolling in the favors of 120 FPS.
I don't really have much of an answer to this either. Getting called off one step at a time. Robo. Maybe find one air pixel. That doesn't really seem to be a possibility. Completely ran over. Pumped down. As you can see, that Greedy is back to playing his flute.
This is a different one, by the way.
Good God.
If you
Yeah,
notice.
how many flutes does he have?
I have no idea.
It's something to ask him if these guys, like, if we can get to an interview with them on the finals, we have to ask him what to do.
Careful there.
Definitely. Most definitely.
for now, though. Jumping on back here. Robo waiting on the angle for this one. As you can tell, first on the duel, he's going to be able to take initiative. Still alive and kicking. They're not going to be able to trade him out almost instantaneously. Possibly Robo with another kill. Not just yet. Clandestine able to find the catch over towards the first, but even then, doesn't really matter because Enzi has the better weapon. You are talking to the ISO player himself. He plays the ISO a lot more than you do, possibly, because he is consistently scrimming it on the map of Haven. Now he's playing a harmonica. The man had a flute and now he's playing a harmonica.
Here.
He's been switching between instruments quite a lot.
The man's a
Not switching
musician.
his agent.
And he can tell. No, think about it. The man's an absolute musician outside of the game and he's playing music in the game as well.
That he is. Yep. I agree. Wasn't the best of his games in the last particular map, but then again, I don't blame any of the players from the side of 120 FPS for that. It was just homeboy being homeboy. He did not leave anyone to be taken.
Cage trigger.
What is happening? Did he just freeze at his feet?
Not really. The swing was just very unexpected. No one really peeks out of a smoke like that, but Rini
Yeah, but he was looking
is
in that
so
direction.
confident in his approach.
And there goes the party. Is it gonna be a celebration? Not really. He's not gonna find anyone in that periphery. Was that a very premature use of a showstopper?
He expected more players to be towards the mid side, but Zephy not really able to find much. Information is dry for the members of AIRAVATA, which is one of the bigger problems, I would say. They're playing purely based upon intuition of where the players might go to, and
30
Greeny
seconds
again
left.
being such a dangerous player to everyone. He's going to be able to find 2 at the bare minimum, but the thing is, he's able to take out the smoke for the defenders. Now, without those smokes, they can't really hold on to the sides as best as they could have normally. Clandestine, he finds the answer, but Enzi comes in for the cleanup. 1 to 7. 120 FPS? What happened in that last game could just be happening again.
I agree. They're in a rush. They've been in a rush since the beginning of the day. The first map as well, towards the first half, you see the scoreline difference was good enough. They had an 8-4. They just could not carry it forward, and they realized that being in the second half, they might just not be able to convert as well as they think they might be. And hence, they're just taking the first half like a breeze. They're just trampling every single idea of AIRAVATA in the first half to make sure that they don't have a lot to pick up after themselves in the second one. Okay, a good enough attempt from the side of Zephy, but one he had to stay committed to because he did not have any cover to walk back into and could not stick for very long in.
One-for-one trade really does favor the members of AIRAVATA a little bit more. Losing out on the breach this early on as an attacker really limits your options on how you want to enter onto any of these sites. Even then, in chances and opportunities, it will look a little bit different. Greeny is expecting the play and the timing to come through for him. It all does depend on how he forces it forward. His teammates are giving him everything to try and go in for this lurk, and this is going to initiate it. Chances presented. Clandestine swaps across, but still the shots get to connect. Homeboy able to answer back on his own accord, but Greeny a little bit too late with this lurk. If he was just a couple of seconds faster, it could have been different for him. And Robo is expecting the duel, has the angle, hiding behind his own teammate's wall. With that, he's just done for. Robo's not going to be able to do... Robo doesn't even need to do anything because Shrey is in the back to make sure he puts the final bullet in. ABT, the answer back in kind, 2 to 7. But even then, 5 rounds differentiate both of these teams, and unless I see any form of consistency coming through from ABT, this will not look good.
through that. They have gone in for a timeout, will be rethinking how to exactly fight this off. And they have to. They have to, because this is about time. If you have anything less than an 8-4, actually, I would say even not an 8-4, unless you have at least a 7-5 on the boards for yourself, you cannot expect this to be a very positive result for the side of AVT. So if they don't win every single round of the first half here on, they can already bid goodbye to this map. And to the season.
They may very well do so. Pause. Very important for the members of AVT to just resettle themselves back in, but I do believe that the pause was taken a little bit too late as well in the rounds. They needed to get a bit more of a forward end approach, but overall, I don't really see how they're going to be able to turn this one around on its side. Not just yet. No real positions have been changed either coming out from the defenders of AVT. They're still playing in the exact positions that they did in the previous rounds, but plan-wise, what are they really thinking about? What side do they want to head into? And how far do they want to go? Because as of right now, you can tell 120 FPS are looking to see if any member of AVT will be playing aggressively, because normally what happens after a pause is you want to take aggressive control onto a portion of the map, because that's how you gain information, and with that information you're going to be able to make plans for following rounds. But for AVT, they are playing a lot more reactively than before, and that reactive nature that worked for them previously seemingly working for them here as Greeny stop spraying at the worst possible time, and Zephy is going to be the one to shut him down. That is tough.
That it is. This time around, losing Greeny that quickly into the
30 seconds
match
left.
is going to be kind of difficult for the side of 120 FPS. Might give the opportunity for AIRAVATA to actually control the pace of the game, but wait a second. Homeboy and NZ will still be able to find heads for themselves. Not looking like the worst of rounds for either of the teams, but they are definitely running out of time. 120 FPS
10
has
seconds
go
left.
in for the plant,
Spike
and that will
planted.
leave one of the players paralyzed for the fight.
Last player
It became a
standing.
1v1,
Time's alive.
and now the Sage has to take this on herself. Will Prime be able to do it? Not
You don't need to
really.
fight.
Actually, didn't have to, yes. Just had to play a little bit of a ring around the rosies.
But I can patch a bullet hole or two.
Yeah, that was a sad one. He expected Robo to immediately move his way towards the spike and maybe beat him on the timing, but Prime not really having the best of throws when it came down to the slow orb either. If he placed his slow orb a little bit closer in, then Robo
Yeah.
could not have swung onto him like that. It's those small plays, I would say, those micro adjustments that you need to do on the fly whenever you're in a clutch situation that really differentiates these players from one another. Giving a fair 50-50 on low HP is never something that you want to do. Right, very fast here. Immediately pops through with the utility that he's able to find NZ. Now trying to catch up Clandestine one more time, but not this time around. The headshot does not connect, and NZ is going to be on the back foot, but immediately the Resurrection comes in for another big save of their own. So basically an ultimate for an ultimate at this stage, because as long as NZ's still alive, it's going to cause even more problems.
I know exactly.
The smokes are gone, but the intel is flowing in. With the neural theft used from the side of Greeny, there's definitely going to be a lot of threat for the players of AIRAVATA. They will have to keep moving back. Prime has a good enough position, but will have to take a couple of fights at once. Needs backup, but will be walking out of this one.
Spike down.
Loses
Last
Greeny in the
player
process,
standing.
loses himself as well. This has become a much better gunfight for the side of AIRAVATA.
Last round in the half.
That's
One
purely on the
neural
basis
theft
of
winning the whole
having the
game.
ability.
Yeah.
True. even if you have information, it doesn't really matter because if your smokes die, then you're gonna be in a very precarious situation. But for 120 FPS now, it's time to really take an initiative more towards playing for trade. They have been taking a lot of fights by themselves and not really setting up based upon utility. And I know it's very difficult to set up utility with the breach as often, as your breach is the solo initiator, so you're relying on him to purely play based upon the instinct of the players. But you do not push like this. Zephy just got that kill for free. NC. That didn't make any sense. What was the game plan there? You pushed them onto ramps, no utility whatsoever other than an Astra set?
Yup. 4v2 is what it will result into, leaving AIRAVATA in a good enough position to change things around for themselves, and a 7-5 will be a very comfortable swap for them. I've not seen the side of 120 FPS be very good on their defensive half. So this could actually change things completely. This could change the expected result of this particular game, and we might just not see a lot of flute after that.
Possibly. 75 on the scorecards here, but 120 FPS. Do not forget, they are going to be going onto the defensive side. Arguably a side where this team really will shine even brighter when you think about it. Split as a map, still notoriously defense favorite. I don't care how many changes Riot makes to this map. Some things will just never change for this particular one. Both sides, they know that they're going to be royally screwed here regardless of everything.
Did you see Zephy's room?
The man's got a lot of action figures.
A lot of collectibles. A wall of fame.
Hey, I'm gonna get a bunch of collectibles as well, soon.
Doesn't matter, you're a caster, we don't see it. We see your face. You can swap your face for your collectibles. I'd be
For
down
sure.
for that.
Production, am I allowed? Am I allowed?
Can we please swap Aggressive's face for his collectibles once he gets some?
I don't think, like, production said that we are not allowed to, and I do believe that the members of AIRAVATA are saying you're not allowed to play the game as well because Robo just did a jumping classic headshot, which should not be happening. Again, the patch just rolled around. You are not allowed to do stuff like this, but for some reason, Robo's going to be able to do it regardless. Some players just have that kind of luck. But
Skill
an
greater
unfortunate
than
situation.
patch?
Yes. Skill greater than patch.
Spike planted.
A little bit of a sad story to say the very least. As ABT, they're looking for even more of an opening. Hunting down the last two players because they know getting those extra ult points will be helpful for them as NZ.
Team A.
Opts for the duel, takes down one at the bare minimum, so a little bit closer towards that showstopper, but not really a consolation prize that he would have wanted. Somehow, in some way, shape, or form, members of AVT, right after one pause, have just bounced back in such a way that their team
That goes there.
is clawing their way back up, similar to what they did in map number 1.
From here on, it seems like AVT might just have a much better run in this particular map. And this one is definitely going really, really close. Let's see how it unfolds for the side of 120 FPS because they do have a lot of adjustments to make if they really want to make the best of this one. Side B is complete. Both the sides are actually completely empty. I don't know what's going on in the heads of 120 FPS. They just want to wait till the plant is done, I think, and just play on retake. Look at that. 3 members on a backstab. That's gonna happen. The defense, the attack, everyone is going for a backstab.
Roles haven't swapped pretty much.
Last player standing.
Even though the sides have been
Look
swapped a
at
little
that.
while ago, but the attackers are gonna be the ones who are at the much more significant advantage. Zeppi as well, just so fast on the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
He has that young man reaction time, so able to do that. 7-7 on the scorecards, ladies and gentlemen. As ABT, they have their superstar player back onto the roster, so you can see that a second win has been breathed into the team. The fact that he's able to get warmed up as well. The set plays are a lot more better. You can see that ABT, they have a lot better coordination now on that attack side. It's some of the things that they were missing in map number 1 and map number 2. But as soon as Clandestine and Zephy are able to get into proper sync with one another, it's working wonders.
That's true. This time with complete control on mid, it seems like the players of AIRAVATA might be just faking a little bit on side A, grabbing attention from Prime, and executing towards side B. That's what I'm thinking. But let's see if they're thinking the same thing.
This is now a waiting game for both of the shotguns on either side. They pretty much smell each other 110%. They know what's waiting for them on the opposite side of this. Valorant really has turned into a game of shotguns, and no matter what Riot does, you can't really change that anymore. So instead, he wins the race for them as 120 FPS. They're waiting for that first initial
30 seconds left.
come through. This off angle being held by Green, crucial position, but
Find out. But
10 seconds left.
resetting down through. It seems as though my internet did disconnect for a couple of seconds there, but ABT, they seemingly are the ones who came back on top of it. Trey gets another hit and 120 FPS. It's time for a save, but Zap is still holding down line. He's so confident to take a duel, but he doesn't run it away. But ABT, they're going to be running away with the round instead. 7.
That's true, and this seems like this is the start of a roll, like from the side of Era. They might just have a snowball effect here on. However, 120 FPS is going to be utilizing their timeout. Let's see what adjustments they come with for this particular one. Being on the defensive side, they will have the advantageous half of it, but knowing their play style, it just seems like Split is not the kind of map where they can change things around in the second half. But let's see. 8-7 all the way from, I think, 2-7 to 8-7, if I'm not wrong. I might be wrong.
Yep. It's all the way from 2-7 to 8-7.
Okay, I'm not wrong. Happy.
AVT is just on a different tier of their own. They've found the formula that's working for them, and they're just constantly applying it over and over again. Every player, they're on the same page. They're going for setups well. And you can see Shrey, he's starting to look good for the camera. He's making sure that, hey, we're winning this game, and we are going to be winning it in style.
Oh, this is a
That's
nice
exactly what you want to see.
that goes there.
With all the players on perfect synchronization with one another, AVT, I don't think there's much that can even stop them.
Well, we'll soon find out how it unfolds. As of now, yet again, from the side of 120 FPS, the presence of all the players is gonna stay towards mid. They're not gonna intervene until the plant is done and then just march into side. They know now. They know. The moment they got even a little bit of info, they have rushed in towards side B. This time around, we're not seeing as many players trying to go in for a backstab though. They are more interested in stopping the attack in its tracks than playing on retake. They believe they have pushed the team towards site A, but the read cannot be more wrong.
With the weaker weapons, they can't even win for a fast retake either. Anything that could have happened here. seemingly then backfired. No mid control, no nothing. They understand that because of the weaker weapons, anywhere we go for close proximity fights, it will be difficult. But if we stick together on points we made, it's not going to be that
30
easy to
seconds
break
left.
through our lines.
Spike planted.
7 here already.
Phantom buff is sure showing colors right now. I mean, Zephy should have lost that fight because it was against a judge and in a very close proximity. But he was just able to land the right shot at the right time. Any which ways, 3v5 now. The numbers from the side of FPS just not getting better even after the timeout. They are going to be able to deny the flawless, but that's about it. Detroit gets taken off, but that's all 120 FPS could do in this round. However, they will have better weaponry in the next coming one, and in that we can actually see how they have planned to change things around, because all the planning plotting that they've done in the last one will only be seen now.
Exactly how things are, exactly how it's going to be going
There.
for them. A bit of a slow approach too from NZ, because you would have expected NZ to have a lot more of an explosive performance, but slow down quite heavily after what happened to him in map number 1. Not really the best as you would have hoped for. Zap's
You and me.
ambitious with the flash, but Zephy as well, he had a really nice shot, so I'm not gonna be saying anything just yet. Prime on the angle, but Zephy! Good God, the man pre-fired it! This kid is built different. An AVT. What is happening? What? Did he pre-fire that?
That he did.
And I'm getting voice cracks at this age. What is wrong with me? Ahem. Ahem.
You're getting old.
This should do.
I think the reason production called us and told that you cannot swap your face for figurines is not because you cannot, but because you're too old to even have figurines now.
Oh, come on. As thing is,
Your voice is
when I
saying
was
it,
young-
not me.
no,
When I was young, yes, exactly. That's how old
there's
people
the thing.
talk.
There's the thing. No, there's the thing.
Idiots.
Of course, after Homeboy gets an insane sheriff one tap, there's a thing, right? When you're younger, you're always told that you can have these things when you're older, but when you're old, you're not allowed to have these things. Explain yourself.
Where is everyone hiding?
Well, there is a sweet spot. That's an age you already skipped.
Didn't have money back then. What do you want from me?
For you to have money.
Oh my God, Homeboy! How many kills is he gonna get through a smoke?
That too
He's
with
got
the
a
sheriff.
2 old. Lady Luck is shining upon these players, that is for certain. And Homeboy is looking for more. A little bit too overconfident for his own good, but Shrey
Last player
able to
standing.
turn it around just a bit here as Homeboy is looking for the ace. Shrey gets the shots that he needs. Camera spots him out. Given the opportunity and a chance, but Homeboy with the ace, ladies and gentlemen. He is unfazed. Celebrations. Yep, he's gonna be able to do it. 10-8, ladies and gentlemen. That is 120 FPS for you. Now
Can
that they've
we
been
pass
given a
him the
chance,
flute?
that second win. I mean, not gonna lie, imagine if they were all in the boot camp, maybe the flute would be coming out.
Yeah. I mean, we can only see the cams. He could have played it in the worst possible way and we would still be like, yeah, there's a flute. That's celebration. A timeout from the side of AIRAVATA. They do not want to lose a single round. They do not. They've lost just one since what, last 9 rounds? This is the first one they've lost after 9 rounds in a row. And they still don't want to take that.
What's on? Ronaldo moving across over from the opposite side. As the tactical timeout does come through from the members of AVT, one of the biggest changes that I do want to see is utilization of the showstopper and being a little bit more aggressive with it. because of the way that AVT have been playing for a lot more of their rounds. They are relying on a lot of aggressive, a lot of control first. They're taking things slow, or maybe sending Zephy out early on with a bit of utility setup to gain space for them. But the biggest problem is with Sky, you can't really do it as often or as effectively as you would. Little placements of tripwires as well. I like the change that they did with this trip. Even if you walk into it, you can't really break it almost as immediately. But look at Zephy. What is this guy on? Every single time you look at him, he just knows these angles by heart. Instantly on the pre-fire.
That shows practice. We were talking about how these young guns are gonna have a little bit less experience, a little bit less practice compared to the rest of them. I think when it comes to the mechanics, he's had enough practice. More than enough. But well, both the teams having lost one player each, AIRAVATA still trying to look down the barrel. Make sure that they do not lose a single round here on. But 120 FPS, look at Prime's position. He's definitely gonna have the better fight here. But wait a second, this resurrection won't be
This is
fruitful.
risky.
Robo was waiting for that.
Spike down B. 30 seconds left.
He's gonna be able to run on away at the bare minimum though. Save his life in the process, but overall, he still need to go in for a very risky duel. Zephy is gonna get pre-fired into this one, but Trey is gonna come in for the backup and the save. Still 15 seconds left on the clock. They're not gonna be able to waste the entire time just yet. Zaps on the angle, able to climb and find the hit. As Zephy, he just finishes everything off in the process. 11-8, ladies and gentlemen, as AVT, they are still holding strong. They're able to capitalize on a lot of these pre-fire plays as well coming in from Zephy. It's a very significant surprise because you're not going to expect to get pre-fired like that in all moments, but Zephy keeps on doing it at every turn.
That he does. And I mean, the way Zephy is showing up for the team is just completely unimaginable. I mean, very lucky for AIRAVATA that he could step in for this last final game, because if he did not, I am not sure if we would see the same exact results, because Sayonara is someone who plays the controller, still a very mechanically gifted player, but being on the controller does put him in a place where he's not as freely allowed to run around the map and like keep getting those tracks for himself. This time around, site A is where the hit is going to be from the side of AIRAVATA. A very flightful entry into the site for Zephy. Does not lose way too much HP. He still has 70 to go with. Okay.
They need
Through
to
the
take
smoke.
things slow.
I know
I don't think they're going to be able to do much through the smoke. That's going to be another big catch. Robo with the double. He's going to be able to get a triple. Yeah, now he also has the Seekers online for the following round. This has gone from bad to worse. AVT, after taking the loss in map number 2, they're now gunning back for a victory in map number 3. 120 FPS, their hopes and dreams are just being shattered piece by piece here for this map.
That they are. It seems like AVT just called up 120 FPS towards the second half of this game and just went like, stacking? Is that what you were talking about? People playing together, all 5 marching in together? Let us just give you a taste of your own medicine. And they just decided to annihilate everything with that. I mean, you can see how they're playing now. They are literally marching in with everything they have, fighting with everything they got, and just going on capitalizing every single fight. Yet again, on a very broken situation is where 120 FPS is. But we've seen them take their games in a thrifty manner at that point as well. Their 8th round itself was in that manner, so you never know.
I kind of do forget another thing. Like, Anna, the angles that Zephy is pre-firing now with the Phantom, these are one-shot ranges now.
Yeah.
From that position over to the entrance, it's a direct one-tap compared to what it was before, so these pre-fires from the Phantoms are even more deadlier than ever before. Homeboy, though, on the angle. He's going to be able to catch out one Detroit. Poor guy's not going to be able to do much with that. If he had an operator, would have been a different story. For now, AVT lost out on a lot of very key and crucial members as Prime. He still has the judge on the angle, so he can just wait for it.
30 seconds left.
AVT no real big ults to really play into, and I don't think they're gonna be utilizing anything big to try and fight into this one just yet. Flashes out, but the timing did not work out in their favor.
Still a
One
2v4,
enemy
not
remaining.
enough time though. Make it a 1v4. He is gonna be able to go in for the plants, but not really stick with it till it gets done. Yet another round for 120 FPS, but from here, will they be able to push it to an overtime? Is the question. It's possible. It's definitely possible.
I don't think he's gonna play the food
This
just
is
yet,
my spot.
which is sad.
Yes,
We all want to see it, but
that goes
Greedy's
there.
I
not
wanna
really
see
gonna
what
give
he
it to
play-
us until he wins.
I want to see what he would play if he wins with an ace in the last round of the overall score line. Will he just bring in a whole piano?
Possibly. He's gonna take his camera to the piano.
Or the piano to the camera? He could have a wheeled piano.
There.
Let's just focus on the game, just like they are.
Ultimate in the hands of Zaps, though. Even if the members of AVT, they try to brute force their way into the site for this one, it is not going to be that easy. Hammering down, that's gonna be Clandestine with the first. They're gonna need to answer back over towards Multiple Prime. Still causing problems here on the opposite side. As long as he's alive, they are
That's right,
going to
never
need to
worked.
try and break through a lot. 3 versus 2 here already for the members of AVT. They still have all the angles, and look at the timing. Zeppi, he has the fight that he would have wanted. And one by one, they're just dropping like flies. It's all up to Homeboy to try and maybe pull off a possible clutch to keep their tournament dreams alive. Every mistake that they are making is hurting them tenfold. They know the exact position of the last. He has nowhere to go but to try and fight into it. Camera also spots him out. He has been tagged, and everyone is surrounding him from every other sideline. Shrek finishes off the last and final player. 13-9, ladies and gentlemen. This is the strength of AVT as a team. And Zephi, he was the last missing piece that the team needed to finally bring in their fullest caliber.
Absolutely. I mean, the way the match started, we thought this was going to be just as one-sided as before. It was going to result into a very quick, clean victory for the side of 120 FPS, resulting into a reverse clean sweep. But AVT just did not give up. First 8 rounds, actually, they could not find a footing, but after that, all they gave was 2 rounds. 2 rounds in a run of 12. That was humongous. The way AVT showed up for themselves, the way they were able to show up for each other in that particular game. It's miraculous. And again, Zephi did a great job. But I just cannot believe that he was able to bring the team back into this position. And I just want to see how this whole thing is going to unfold when we start moving forward. Because we've seen Zephi and Sayonara play together. We saw Sayonara and Robo, and now we've seen Zephi and Robo as well. So all the alterations, all the permutations, combinations of the team are working.
The team is a old machine, and when your 6th man is able to play as well as your main roster, ooh boy, you have a recipe that can easily create chaos for your opponents. And hopefully, with this superstar level talent on your team, as he grows stronger and he just gets even better than what he already is, things will evolve here. Maybe, just maybe, they're going to be the ones to take this Showdown series for themselves. This lower bracket run is extremely interesting to me because every single moment that is being presented, of course, we're going to be jumping on down over a couple moments. It's nail biting, to say the very least. Both teams played their hearts out in this particular map, but in a way, I wouldn't say there was a clear singular winner. It was just the adaptability of one team that far outshone the other. And as soon as one team was able to firmly establish themselves as the leaders in this particular game, it was just very difficult.
That it was. I mean, being able to bring it back itself was a dream come true for the side of AVT, I think, because it didn't seem possible. It didn't seem possible for a really long time. But then again, the way everything turned around, the way they were able to stop 120 FPS in their footsteps, again, I do not believe this could have been done if they did not have a 5-7 scoreline in the first half. If the first half had gone to something like a 9-3 or an 8-4 even, I don't think it would have been as easy for the side of AIRAVATA to go ahead and change things around. But as of now, this is how the result stands, and they were just able to squeeze themselves the best of everything by the end of this.
There were a lot of very significant mistakes being made too by the members of like AIRAVATA throughout the earlier stages of this game. They just kind of went in by themselves and they didn't really have that gelling chemistry that they usually are known for. But that's kind of the thing. Even if you are having a very rough start at the beginning, you take that one pause, you get that one taste of victory, that one chance and that sliver being given to you by your opponents, you grasp onto it and you just keep on pulling yourself back up. And in a way, ABT just did that time and time again. They didn't let anyone go through unscathed, and they constantly did it together as a team. Yes, there were some rounds where 120 FPS, they were able to do a lot just building on the basis of their individual brilliance, but that's kind of the thing. How often can you rely on individual plays to come in and save? You just cannot. Well, on ABT, they relied on the team play and synergy to get them over that line. And Homeboy being on that Astra, I do believe that I didn't really see him set up a lot of utility for his teammates as often on that Astra. There should be situations where the Astra comes in with a big wall or maybe a gravity well or even a concuss to try and save everyone. None of it was present.
You're right. Mostly we did see Astra's stars getting used just for smokes and nothing else. And that somewhere did put Homeboy on a back foot, but he did not fall short on number of frags. He has 22 kills for himself with an ACS of 289. Still the biggest one on the complete board. But the victory, however, has gone for the side of AIRAVATA, with Robo being on 19 kills and 254 ACS.
Yeah, they played phenomenally throughout the entire game. All the players had consistency from the members of AIRAVATA, but at the same time, 120 FPS, especially Homeboy, I would say that it's not his aim that was lacking. I do believe that it's just the overall playstyle that he brought onto the team while being on that Astra was just a little bit lackluster. He wasn't really able to set them up as much as you would have hoped for from an Astra player. Because having that intuition to place those stars, maybe pull back, maybe do a couple of fake smokes here and there, just really exists as much on this particular instance. MVP of the map, of course, will be Homeboy. He was insane, to say the very least. He was hitting every shot that you needed him to hit. But that's kind of the thing. He had good aim, but his utility usage just lacked far beyond.
That it did. That it surely did. But well, this is definitely a sayonara to the players of 120 FPS from this particular one, but Homeboy definitely did show up for his team time and again. If the utility usage was also on point, it could have resulted in something completely different. And this is the second time around in Showdown Series Season 6 that we're seeing MVP of the series to be from the team that could not go any further.
The series MVP, of course, will be our one and only player that was initiating fights, controlling duels. He was doing everything that he could to make sure that 120 FPS just wasn't enough. Having that consistency is one thing for your aim, but consistent utility usage, it's never that simple. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the upper bracket finals will be in front of your screens soon as well. So WG going up against X Crew will be an interesting fight, to say the very least. X Crew still getting a lot of very difficult games throughout their entire series when you think about it. X Crew never has it, but what they do have is a lot of talent that just keeps on bringing this team back over it.
Well, we'll soon see which team will be fighting up and against which team in the lower bracket finals, because we do have the upper bracket finals coming up soon and the lower bracket round 3. The winners from lower bracket round 3 will be competing with the losers from upper bracket finals, and from that we will find out who goes to the grand finals. However, the upper bracket finals will already determine one of the teams that is going to have a sure shot piece in the prize pool. But there's definitely a lot more to the competition, not just the prize pool, but also the bragging rights, because this competition keeps going season after season, and you can just have multiple seasons under your belt. Just something to look forward to.
Yep. Plus, don't forget about the level of leaderboard as well. The Riot goodies are going to be waiting for the players on the opposite side. And at the end of the day, once there are some other extra things on the line, possibly a couple of Riot buttons as well, you never really know. Players will be gunning for that number one position. So make sure to check out our Instagram at the Esports Club to see exactly how we are distributing all of these points and how the players are earning the points as well, to see exactly who is going to be at that number one position. But that's for the nerds. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, Haven is now a map that is getting picked up quite often, and it's not that big of a surprise. Before it was, of course, Lotus, but after the map just got pulled out of the map pool, you're not going to be surprised that it's going to be another three-sided map that fixes it.
Yep, I do believe that Split may or may not stay in the top 3 for really long, but yeah, we do have the top 5 agents for sure, which I think it's gonna stay the same for a while.
They're gonna be.
We do.
This is just like, when you think about it, I want to see a little bit more of that abyss really come into play. A lot of teams are starting to really practice abyss a little bit more, but they haven't been able to grasp onto it just yet. But we're gonna be talking more about the maps later on, tomorrow even, because I do believe that knowing the top 4 players that are in front of your screens already, the side of Asterix plus WG, they'd like to go in for those a little bit unconventional maps. I'm hoping that Ramel, even being on WG now, it's adding a lot more firepower onto the team that's propelling them through the entirety of those upper bracket stages. And tomorrow's matchup will be a real treat.
Absolutely, it's definitely gonna be one to wait for and watch for the next day. But yeah, these players definitely bring a lot to their own teams. But we'll soon find out how much their teams are going to be bringing to the overall table, because very soon we're going to be left with just 2. Only 2. So, waiting for that moment.
Yep. The journey is going to be coming to a close soon, but not that soon when you think about it, because there's still a lot more days, ladies and gentlemen, for this entire tournament to wrap up. A bunch of different teams, and honestly, a lot of different plays that could happen. And in a way, Valorant as a game, we were not expecting AIRAVATA to make it this far. Yes, the team has gotten a lot better. Yes, Seppi is an introductory talent, but for him to make it this far and to propel his team this deep into the tournament, it's not something anyone would have expected. But looking at the overall stats, ladies and gentlemen, AK Demon still leading the charge, mind you, on the games that he played previously in the last season. It's very difficult to dethrone this guy because of the stats that he has left. That's a legacy that not a lot of players can build upon, even if they play through this entire season. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that's all that we do have for you for today. Thank you all for stopping us by for this entire extravaganza of a best of 3. Even the last one, we expected to go over to that third map, but ended off in a quick 2-0 fashion. Hopefully tomorrow's matchups is going to be a lot more close, because WG and their match, oh boy, that is going to be interesting up against Extra. We're expecting the entire distance to come through, so make sure to hit that like, hit the subscribe, and also hit that notification bell down below to you get notified when we do go live. And make sure to check out the lovely links from our sponsors as well. If you want to get yourself a crucial SSD, even RAM, we all got you covered. And to pair up with those sticks, be sure to check out Zotac Gaming for a latest graphics card. I'm going to be doing so because I need an upgrade. And hey, I've been telling everyone that I'm going to be getting one in the process. But for now, that's all that we have for you guys with the Esports Stuff Show on Series Season 6 Valorant powered by Crucial by Minecraft, with our GV partners Zotac Gaming and media partners Gossip.gg. Good night and happy gaming.
When are you gonna upgrade your system? Alright, let's do
Once there was a hunter who saw what others could not. With a magic case in her backpack, she roamed with wild abandon into the great unknown. Her gaze inescapable, her reflexes lightning fast. When armies swarmed, she went through. With eyes open wide, hands steady, holding, watching, capturing everything in sight.
The Crucial Pro DDR5 RAM kit comes with a sleek, modern look that will complement any build. But aesthetics aside, it's the performance that really matters. So let's dive into it. The default JEDEC timings are 46, 45, 45, but it does come with 2 XMP and Expo settings for those looking for a little more performance. With XMP 3.0 Profile 1, you can push the speed up to 5600 megatransfers per second. If you prefer a slightly lower speed but tighter timings, Profile 2 offers 5200 megatransfers per second at 42, 42, 42 timings. We've run some benchmarks and stress tests to give you an idea of how it performs. In general, dropping the speed and tightening the timings with the second XMP/Expo profile yielded better results for us on our test system. Paired with a Ryzen 7800X3D, we saw anywhere from a 1 to 5% performance bump depending on workloads. All in all, the Crucial Pro DDR5 64GB RAM kit by Micron is a fantastic choice for first-time builders and enthusiasts alike.